All right, guys. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm here live with the man, the myth, the legend, my guy, Busy Works Beats. You know what I'm saying? Say what's up to the people, Busy.
What's going on? We got a little something, something for y'all. A little
Yeah.
something, something. I'm being so dumb right now. A
Yeah,
little something, something for y'all. Now, today's going to be magical. Like I said before, I was saying how my ceiling just started leaking last night. Thank God it missed the arterial keyboard because that would have been a mess. So I literally had a plumber here like 10 minutes ago trying to fix the ceiling. So I'm glad you guys are with us. All of you guys watching the replay, watching the live. So I'm not trying to show off my jersey. I literally usually have my camera like this, but I don't want y'all looking at my atrocious ceiling. So I just appreciate the welcome energy. And again, you guys are going to get exclusives information that I can't really say I can say it on my channel, but like I said, today I couldn't go live on my channel because I already posted. So y'all get the exclusive thoughts.
exclusive. Brr, 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 brr. Y'all get the fake horn again, even though you didn't get to hear it the first time.
Right
uh,
on.
I already said this, but I'm gonna say it again. I do want to thank Busy for taking the time out of his schedule to hop on this live stream in my channel. It means a lot more than he probably ever really realized. So again, if we can give flowers to people when they're not around, we can give them to them when they're in person as well. So thanks again, brother. I appreciate that.
Awesome. You got that down. I need to have the rhythm like that. Or I could just recall what I said. I just can't recall like that.
Yeah,
Shout out to you.
yeah, man. I don't know. I guess it's a gift. I be rapping a lot, man. So maybe it's just my
Oh,
muscle memory. That's probably what it is.
that's what it is right there.
All right.
Y'all don't even know how many headphones he has.
Yeah. I got it.
Actually,
Go
you
ahead.
wanted how many? Do you know how many headphones you have?
Yeah, I have. I'm just gonna give you guys a little info. I'm gonna be doing a best budget headphones review coming up here, probably Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure where I'm gonna drop it yet, but I got like 10 pair of headphones back here, budget headphones that I've been working with. So I was talking to Busy about that. Like, I don't know if they can see all these headphones on the floor. I did my best to hide them, but there's only so much room in here, man. But I'm using one
All
of the
right.
pairs right now. So.
I was gonna. The reason I was gonna ask you is because I was gonna say we could do a giveaway. The person who guesses the number of headphones that you have,
Well, I've already
but you
said
were
it.
like,
Yeah.
you were like, I got 10. I was like, oh, there that goes. Well, we'll do a giveaway to somebody random in the chat. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do a giveaway for Cable Guys halftime plugin to somebody in this chat who has Instagram. Weaver Beats, what's up, Weaver Beats? So somebody who has Instagram from your audience in the chat. So stick to the end, and I'll let something pick the winner, however you decide to pick.
Bet.
Is that cool?
That's fine with me, man. I do want to say what's up to a couple people in chat, though. I like to do that, giving their props for being here, spending their time with us. Sir Chump, what's up? Welcome. DT Fluker, what's up, my guy? It's too cold on the stream. What's up, brother? Justin Tunes is in the building. What's up, Wallace? My guy E Weezy, aka Skydog Pigpen. What's up, brother? Bam, bam, bam. What's up, my guy? You know what I'm saying? That's my dude. Easy money on the track. Definitely a killer on the beats. I'm gonna give Busy a shout out because he's the next name in the line, even though I've already given him his shout out. If I missed you, DJ Trash Panda, a very nice 13-year-old producer. What's up? Welcome. Weaver, my guy. You already know what's good. Viral, what's up? What's up? And Rob Snow, what's up? Gang. L Cool J,
Rob
what's
Snow.
up? What's up?
Rob Snow is the top dog in our beat battle league.
Oh, it's dope.
He's
Yeah,
showing face. Thank you, Rob Snow.
yeah, I be peeping it out from the outside, man. I watch more in your content than you probably know. I've actually submitted a bunch of beats to beat battles and stuff like that all throughout the time and stuff. So
Oh yeah, hopefully I didn't trash you and was like,
No.
oh, get this.
Nah. I sent you a song one time though, and I was really the song was good. It was a really good song. You gave me mad props on the channel. It was but it was a political song, so I was nervous to send it in because I was like, ain't nobody gonna want to hear me rapping about gang, America ain't nothing but a gang, But then everybody loved that shit, So
No, when you even said it, it's funny because that track was so different than everything else. Just you telling me reminds me of exactly where I was when I hear the picture or something. Like it gave me an abstract memory.
yeah.
Whereas most people are like, remember that song I made? It sounds like Gunna. You don't remember? It's like, no, because it sounds like every
It sounds like every other Gunna sound, Yeah. So all right,
no,
man. Now go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I was saying I love that. I just appreciate the good energy, the welcoming spirit. I know you have a lot of stuff on your mind because now you're getting into the controversial side of YouTube, but I respect, all angles to YouTube because it's really about how do people stand out.
Right.
And then once they stand out, how do you stay there? That's the trick.
Right, right, right. So I do want to talk about some of those things. I guess I didn't know where to start. I'm going to start off with the typical. What got you into music?
Yeah, for sure. My mom got me into music. I was double checking the story. So basically, I called my mom the other day. I was like, remember when I was like 2 or 4? I think it was 2 or 4. And she would turn on like the classic hip hop of the 90s, like Biggie, Tupac, what Nas and all them back then. And I would tell my mom to turn that off and then put it back on the jazz station because I was tired of hearing the hip hop stuff. So as a kid, like this blows my mind till today. I'm like, how as a kid did I know what good harmony was, like what real music was as a kid? So there's something about frequency and dissonance as a child even that you can determine. Because you know how they say a hit song, you can let it, if a kid dances to it and then a grandmom, it's going to be a hit song.
Right, right, right.
Like the two polar opposites. I do believe kids have some value, especially putting your song in front of women, of course. But yeah, so that was the moment when I knew I was into music. My mom could sing in the choir, all these types of things. So it came from my mom's influence. And then, she had CDs with Incognito and Shaka Khan and all these types of folks. So I would just plug them in. It's all I could listen to back in the day before you had Spotify and all this stuff. So you get in a lane because I wasn't rich. So I didn't have a bunch of money to buy CDs. Like,
Right.
how did you, what am I trying to say? What was your core influence? Like cassette, CD?
I'm a little bit of both. So I'm in the era of I grew up where my parents have records, so I have a bunch of my parents' old records. So I got all like Michael Jackson, Thriller, Off the Wall. I got like all those albums printed, albums. But started with the tape. So when I first started driving, it was tapes were switching over to CD players. CD players have been out for a while, but not everybody had a CD player. So I'm in the generation of I went through records to tapes through CDs as growing up. I remember when I was like 13 and I got my first CD player. I remember all my Walkmans. I remember all that stuff. So I'm kind of one of those, I'm 40, man. So you know what I'm saying? 41. So I'm in that lane of people who I've transitioned with technology, Like I didn't grow up in technology. I've been transitioning my life with technology.
No, I feel you because I remember that time. Like we were in a lucky bracket of life because we saw, like, I grew up around I Love Lucy and Black and White.
yeah.
All the way to like right now. It's like kids don't even know what black and white is. You know what I mean? Like, and then remembering how to fast forward and rewind on the Backstreet Boys cassette tape. Like people just like think about it though. Like your listening experience, you literally only have money for one artist or band. You bought that CD, that's all you listen to. There's nothing else you could listen to.
Right.
Like think about that dramatic change and like the way we perceive music. I think it changed the way people even are influenced with their styles. Like I think that's why everybody had such a different style back then. It's because you only had the money to play, Michael Jackson or the money to play, so and so.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Right. I remember when Limewire popped up and it went from the stage of you could only record, you can only dub stuff on a CD that you owned, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you couldn't, there was no access to, like, if you didn't have a CD, there was no access to it online. You could record stuff off the radio. I'm that old to where you recorded stuff off the radio, and that's how you got your mixtape was you had to wait all day, push record when the song was ending to hope that the next song was the song that you wanted to hear, and then you can go back in and redub and whatever how you wanted to do your mixtapes. But I remember how all this stuff evolved. So I remember when LimeWire came out, that was the total game changer because you could, like you're saying, you can go from having to listen to Michael Jackson, the start of the 8-track, and you have to listen to it all the way through the end because there ain't no fast forward, there ain't no rewind, to now you can pick whatever songs out of the sky that you want and put them on a CD, and now you can skip to the next song, and it's just crazy. You got Kanye next to Jay-Z with 50 Cent with all it was mind-blowing at that time.
No, think about, like, not to belabor this point, but think about, and I'm keeping an eye on the chat every now and again, but think about the like the dramatic, like the changes in music were dramatic. Like to go from the next one format to the next, you had to buy something. It was a whole process. I had to go from tape. I had to rebuy stuff on CD. It was a whole process. Nowadays, it's just like apps change. So like we have the same phone, but the apps are doing whatever they're doing on the phone. So it's not a process of moving stuff around. It's a whole different experience. But we're seeing how that, influences music, which is interesting. I mean, I can't complain, but I'm just saying that's where my influence came from, is an era that will never return. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know about that though, man, because I feel like history repeats itself. So I do feel
Okay.
like a lot of when you're listening to music nowadays and you listen to stuff like The Weeknd or Future, or not Future, but The Weeknd, or a lot of genres, it's like they're pulling from past genres in order to make the new genre. So I feel like you're right. You're right in the sense of we'll never get the exact sound of Aretha Franklin again, but I feel like we will get something similar to her in the future because I feel like history does repeat itself and everything comes back in cycles. And so I don't think that we'll be in a time where it's like the 60s where it's only like rock and R&B and that's all you get in country. Those are only genres you get. But I feel like those genres will come back and there will be side genres to go along with all the new genres that'll be created and stuff like that as well, you know?
That's an interesting part to the conversation, because Sound Oracle, who's one of my sound mentors, he said that music returns every 20 years. So it's a good cycles of 20. Even in real estate, there's cycles are 20 years. So what we have the 80s. So 20 years from that would be what, the 2000s,
Right.
and then the 2000s coming into the 2020s. So we're slowly moving into that, where they're sampling like the Backstreet Boys or sampling
Right, which is
like,
crazy.
yeah. So it is cyclical. I will say it is very cyclical, because if you look at music, I mean, not that I'm not trying to go so left field, but like your background, for example, it's a spectrum of light. You have the orangish light or red light, and then you have like a blue or purple light. And music is just circling around the color wheel. Like, and then, weird combinations might be a different shade of green. Like you said, country. Do you really think, I mean, I'm just asking. I think once we hit the 808, we found the perfect bass.
I
I don't know if
agree.
we'll ever deviate.
I think something will come along in the future. Sorry to cut you there, but I agree. I think that's the perfect base for anything, for any genre, because you hear it in everything. You hear it in country music now. You hear it in R&B. You hear it in hip hop, trap. You hear it in all the genres. But eventually,
Right.
something's going to come out that's going to change the game again. I mean, I don't have the answer as to when, but I think the 808 will be a staple in the music production community for the rest of the time. Just like 808 style sub bass hasn't taken away completely like synth bass or sub bass or something like that. So I feel like it'll be a staple forever. But eventually, something's going to come out and somebody's going to make some crazy mistake and it's going to turn into, just like Kanye probably. I feel like the 808 was a mistake, but he made it work and then it just revolutionized music. I feel like that it's going to always happen like that.
Did Kanye bring in like the craze for the 808s? I just never sat to think about that. Did he really bring in like the fascination around the 808s?
Heartbreaks and 808s changed music forever. you know
That's wild to think,
it
because
is.
everybody was like, oh, they were like, oh, it's a drum machine. They had the little doom, doom. It wasn't like, it wasn't like super hardcore. It was just like this little kick sample. Wow, I never like sat to think about that. That's actually deep, because my philosophy, my guess, my assumption is that music moves based on dances. So like back in the day, they were dancing like this,
Right,
and then
right.
like that. And then I'm trying to think of another dance. I don't even know how to dance. And then my mom did the what was that thing called? Where they kick the feet up with the kid and play
Right,
dance. I forget
but
what it's
everything
called.
was to the beat, like the WAP. You know what I'm saying? Was to
The
the
WAP.
beat. You know what I'm saying? It was to the beat. Like the Running Man, everything was to the beat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everything was to the beat.
Even Jigga Man's the shoulder bounce.
Right,
Jigga, what? Can I get it like that? But I love how TikTok, those kids are bringing back like dances. It's
right.
not all just like catch or whatever they do. I don't even know how to dab or whatever the kids do. It's not all that.
Floss, yeah, all that stuff. I'm too old to be doing.
Yeah. So I think dance actually dictates the rhythms that we get into, and then the rhythms dictate the genres that we get into, like the style of drums and stuff. That's my guess.
No, I agree. I agree with that completely. Because you hear like with drums, for instance, um, you can tell why people dance differently. So why people who listen to different genres of music, why they dance differently, because they dance into different things. So like in hip hop, a lot of times the drums are similar from song to song, or they may be a little bit different, but we have patterns that we typically use when we vary maybe a kick here and there. But when you look at the way people dance like hip hop and trap and R&B, they're basically moving to the snare. So it's like, everything hits when the snare hits. But when you listen to like rock music and stuff like that, sometimes a little bit a lot of country and stuff too, they're moving to the guitar, or they're not necessarily moving to the snap or the clair. So when you watch them dance in their genre, it's not necessarily that they're off beat, but they're dancing to a different instrument. And so I get what you're saying as far as different drum patterns go to different genres. You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying. I can't re-summarize what you're saying, but I think sometimes people don't think about that stuff though. People are just dancing to different things, so it doesn't mean that this person can't dance. They're just dancing to the lead guitar, so they're moving as the guitar moves. You know, as where I'm going, where the snap every time. You know, my head's hitting every time that clap or the snare hits. You know, so just some things we don't think about as people.
They're dancing to the theremin, like some random instrument, like a whistle, the flute. Right. I think you literally just solved the 2 and 4 clapping versus the 1-3 clappers.
Right.
Like the people who clap on the 1 and 3.
Those people are lunatics. They're lunatics. Absolute lunatics.
You just reminded me of something. My mom said this. She said, back in the day, they used to dance like they used to go back, like their head used to bounce back. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, like groovy, dude, like that. Nowadays we bounce forward, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like that's hard, like that. I mean, it's a small little nuance, but I don't know. Culture changes.
Yeah, that
interesting.
Reminds me of a quick little story. So when I was still in high school, I've been rapping for a long time, and so we were listening to some song we had recorded in high school. And I had one earbud in one ear, and my homie had the earbud in the other ear. And I'm nodding down, and he's nodding up. And everybody's like, how are y'all listening to the same song, and y'all aren't even nodding the same? Y'all one of y'all is off beat, but it's like, well, he's not. When the clap hits, he's nodding back. When the clap hits, I'm nodding forward. So we're still hitting at the same time, but our head's just in a different spot. So it doesn't have nothing to do with anything, but you know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, you just don't. When you're in a situation or in a scene, you don't think about. You don't step back and pull yourself out of it. This is something I wanted to talk about here in a minute later too. But sometimes when we're in the middle of doing all the stuff that we're doing, like all the things like the making music and producing and stuff like that, sometimes we get caught up in the moment opposed to getting caught up following the plan. So I don't want to necessarily touch on that yet, but what I do want to touch on is so that we brought you to music. If you could do something different, I guess this will lead into that topic. If you could do something different and you think that would make a huge change in your success or maybe help you to get to where you were at faster, what would it be?
Biggest mistakes. Number 1, get ready, everybody in the chat. Don't forget we're doing a giveaway at the end of this live stream. We're going to be giving away Cable Guys halftime to somebody here in the live. So biggest mistakes. 1 is being too niched. I know we all hear riches are in the niches. They tell us this because they want us to not be competition to them. That's why they tell us that. So they say riches are in the niches. So you focus on this micro community, and it's just like niches to investment bankers is different than niches to people like who are content creators. Because when you hear niche, what do you think? Like, what do you think when I say the word niche or niche?
I just think that's your area, you know, basically your you know, what you specialize in, I guess.
Right. Now, to people who are like investment Wall Street bankers, niche to them means music. That's a whole niche unto itself. It doesn't mean music production tutorials. It doesn't mean FL Studio. It means literally zooming all the way out to music. That's a niche to those guys.
Right.
And what I'm saying is we're being taught a different definition of niche, which is so microscopic that we max out our market very quickly. So, for example, if my whole focus was what's a random plugin that maybe just came out or is something that came out recently for producers?
Tool Room Infinite. Just what I could think about. You did a review on that recently. Infinite Tool Room. Okay, so let's say my whole focus is going to be, and what is it, a mixing plugin or a sound plugin? It's a multi-effect plugin. So it does like risers, it does like, but it's just a multi-effect plugin, but it's good to like do risers and put emphasis on basically rising or transitions of a beat, but you can use the multi-effect on anything.
Oh, okay, interesting. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. Is it White C or C something?
White C Studios.
White C Studios. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
So his focus is like, you know, let's debunk this plugin. Let's see if it's what is it called? Snake oil. That was his whole kind of run. And you'll realize, okay, he's great at what he does, But think about the actual market. How many people are actually in the market to buy this specific plugin? Let's say he's talking to mixing or mastering engineers, for example. It's like, how many people are actually in the market to buy this thing? Let's say it's 10,000 views a month. Great. We can be the king of 10,000 views a month. But if you're trying to get 1 million subscriber YouTube, you can't keep chasing the 10,000 view a month thing. So a lot of people make the mistake, and I did too, is niching down too far. Like, again, change the definition of niche. I know you guys hear it all the time. Riches are in the niches. Instead of thinking your niche is like, I'm only going to do sound design for FL Studio, just scrap that and zoom out. Like, you really have to zoom out because there is going to be a market cap. So again, would you rather have 100% of 100,000 or would you rather have 20% of 20 million?
Right.
And the latter number is actually 4 million. So it's like, would you rather have 4 million or 100,000? And here's another thing. They tell you riches are in the niches because people who are at the top of these pyramids have all the money. But like your average music producer doesn't. Put it this way. What is it called? Toolbox Infinite?
Yeah.
Shout out to Toolbox.
Infinite Toolbox, whatever. The company's called Tool Room, and the plugin's called Infinite.
Am I a tool for using their plugin? No, they got to run a campaign like that for marketing. Who's a tool? No. So I like a Toolbox, Infinite Toolbox. Okay. What was I saying now? Here is, dang, take me back one more step. My brain went off track.
You were like,
go
ahead.
Yeah, the definition of niche, right? So we can have an Infinite Toolbox. Let's say they charge $3,000 for the Infinite Toolbox. It's like, who in the producer community can even afford $3,000? And then secondly, who would pay $3,000 for a plugin? It better like take me to Mars for that price. So my point is, they tell us to niche down and charge more, but there's nobody in the market to charge more for doing the products that we're doing. So you have to go mass, is my point. And in order to go mass market, you have to zoom out. Right. And stop being so focused on one microscopic part of the community. Because I'll transition to the next mistake I made. Once you make your name in reviews or whatever the thing is, then like your name is known. Once your name is known, now you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to do that specific thing anymore. Like Simon Zervita, we know him as Simon Zervita, not the FL Studio guy. People may know him for FL Studio or like his other video styles, entertaining styles, but he can do literally whatever he wants because people recognize him. He's not in obscurity anymore. So that was the biggest mistake I made. Now you said, what was the actual question? Like, what would I change?
Yeah, what would you do differently, I guess?
For YouTube or music or life?
Just in general in life. Like whatever, whatever you think would changing would make your it's hard for me to word it. Basically, let me look at the question again.
Would it shortcut other people? Yeah, basically, I'll continue. I just wanted to make sure I was on track and not so left field. The next thing I would say is that I would keep my foot on the gas. Now, only people who are like high performers will understand what the heck I'm talking about, because I got into a zone where I was drinking the Grant Cardone Kool-Aid, the 10X everything. And I was like, okay, I need a 10X production. I need to 10X my, work efforts. I need to 10X. It worked. Trust me, it worked. I woke up every day. I would get straight to recording videos, 10 videos a day sometimes. Like I would write 100 tweets in a day. Crazy. I would reply to everybody on Facebook. I would answer emails, sometimes 200 emails in a day, all in one day, like consistently. Now, of course, there's like variations in there. So it's not that every single day. But then you run ads for the first time. And I remember my first ad that was super successful. I stopped the ad that was making me a ton of money because I was getting a lot of hate in the comments, and it started hurting my feelings. It's different when you get comments and people just say that. When you pay for somebody to hate on you, you're like, why? I'm going to turn the ad off. But I had to learn, like, later down the line, hate actually has a utility. And the purpose of hate is to convert skeptics. You need the hater to convert the person looking in. So here's 4 stages of awareness when it comes to your brand. The first step is people are just spectators. They're just outside looking in. Like, there's people watching here. There's 35 plus people here or whatever. And not everybody's chatting. So we have spectators in the building. Shout out to all the spectators. And then, they need to have something of curiosity to get excited to go discover something. So they go, okay, the next stage is the skeptic. Okay, so they're like, I'm curious about this thing, but I'm skeptical that they're the person to teach me, or that's the person to listen to, or why should I continue down this rabbit hole? So they're skeptic. So they're interested, but they're
Right.
skeptical, pardon me. And then you have the third stage, which is the subscriber. So this is the person who actually watches this live stream and subscribes to you. Like they're like, I'm invested in the long-term, long tail value from something, something. I want a little something, something every day in my inbox. So they subscribe. So a hater's utility is taking people from the skeptic stage, that curious, like, I don't know if I should listen to them or not, skeptic stage, over to the subscriber stage. And the way that works is that haters force people to look at the facts and look through, they call them objections. They look for justification. So when they realize like the hater is standing on no facts and they have all these objections, but they're answered by the creator, that's how you convert skeptics into the next stage, which is, it is a little hard to see it in the middle air. Okay. But you know, you need haters. Your haters have a utility. So my point is, spectators move over to skeptics out of curiosity. Haters convert the skeptics who are on the fence over to the subscribers because they investigate more. Subscribers who, you know, love you and want to pay you and find something of value that you offer become supporters. And the difference between a subscriber and supporter is that a supporter takes money out of their wallet and gives you a super chat or gives you a thanks on your video. I tried to super chat I can super chat now. Okay. I thought the other day I tried to super chat, it wouldn't pop up, but I was going to tell you to turn it on because the other day I tried to super chat.
Oh yeah. No, it's on. We do on my channel, we do like, obviously I do like the beat critiques and stuff like that. So I know the super chat's active because they super chat, and this is like the next, well, I guess this Sunday is going to be the last stream that we do it, but half of all money made on this channel this month for super chats and like Cash Apps and PayPals are all going to go to helping the homeless. So I'm going to go out and we're going to do where we buy a bunch of shirts, underwear, socks for the homeless, because like you'll hear like people always want to do stuff to help the homeless, but they don't know what they need the most, and they need draws, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they need some clean draws, they need some socks, you know, and then they need some t-shirts, some white t-shirts, so that they can wear, you know, as undershirts, or whatever. So I want to go ahead.
I was sorry, I'm commenting. I said that's deep.
Yeah, that's so I mean, I know the super chats work, you know. Something that I wanted to mention to on this topic, because I you know, obviously when we do these, you know, these collabs, a lot of times it's just you asking one person question without giving any feedback on your end. But I do want to mention maybe for me what I would change, and I want to hit this hard for everybody out there who's listening, because this may be something that affects you too.
Yeah.
Don't change what you're doing or what you want to do with music because of the circle of people that you do music with. So like if you want to make a certain kind of music, but everybody in your circle, everybody you hang out with makes different kind of musics, don't conform to the type of music that they make, because that's only at the end of the day, it's only adhering your growth. So like for me, I've been rapping and making beats for over 20 years. I've been rapping for probably 25 years now. And then I've been making beats on and off for probably 20 years now. And there was a point in time where I was in this group, and the group was really good. I mean, we were really good, and we were doing all kinds of shows, and we were doing all kinds of stuff. But the group was consuming everything, and so at the end of the day, I ended up going separate ways within the group, and I stopped doing music for a while because everybody was like, you need to rap like this, or you need to do this, or you're super metaphorical. I don't know why you don't do more stuff with rhyme schemes instead of telling these stories and stuff like this. So then I focused my attention on being this super lyrical rapper versus maybe more so focusing on my strengths. And my strengths would have been like telling stories or painting these vivid pictures with these words versus just trying to, you know, drop these super dope rhyme schemes and super dope metaphors. So then when I got into making beats again, I was making beats like DJ Mustard used to make, or like when Drake, like stuff like Who Do You Love, beats like that. You know what I'm saying? I was making beats like they were making before they were making those type of beats. And everybody was like, that shit's trash. You know what I'm saying? You're a much better rapper than you are a producer. You need to stop producing your own beats. You need to go buy some beats, and you need to put all your stuff out on these beats that you buy because you're a really dope rapper. And so then 3 years later, 2 years later, this whole genre of way I was making beats that everybody hated became super popular. And all those same people who were knocking my beats were loving all these songs that sounded like the beats that I was making 2 years ago. So I say all that to make you realize sometimes you may be ahead of the curve. You may be ahead of what's going to go on. Now, if the beat is just trash and everything that you're doing is incohesive, okay, yeah, maybe you don't need to stick with that style. But if the sound is it's all cohesive, it sounds good, and it's like different, but it sounds good. Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it because you don't know if you're going to be the next producer that changes the shift in music. You know, we all do.
Sure.
And this is no knock to anybody, so I don't want to make it seem like my channel, I'm never trying to knock anybody. I just give my thoughts, my opinion, and I try to be respectful. But we do tutorials when we show you guys how to do stuff that maybe we've heard or so on and so forth. But it's okay to be different than everybody else because being different a lot of times is what sets you apart and what puts you on other people's radars. Because I can go get, you know, whatever famous rapper can go get whatever beat that they want. So if they want a Lil Uzi Vert type beat, they can go to his producer. But if you're the only person making this kind of genre of beats and you are killing it, continue doing that shit because your value is so much more greater than the average producer who can't come up with their own original ideas, I guess, if that makes sense. And again, no shots. We all do it. You know, people want to know how to make, I don't know. I guess I don't have to drag that out, but you get what I'm saying, man.
Right. Yeah. When the supply is low, when the supply is low, wait, what am I saying? Yeah. When the supply is low and the demand is high, you can charge more. So if you're doing your own thing, quite literally, you have no competition. You have the moat around you.
Busy,
like,
man.
especially if your style,
Thank
if your style is based around, it just went through?
Yeah, man. Thank you, my guy, man. I appreciate you for that, bro. You didn't have to do that,
that's,
man.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at my phone because I was trying to do the little double tap thing to pay for it. I thought it went through like 10 minutes ago. My fault.
No,
and then I realized a message came up. It didn't go through at first.
Thank
so
you,
when you
brother.
were telling me the whole story about that, so I was just supporting your cause. Dang, what were you just saying 2 seconds ago?
We're talking about just basically being yourself, and you were talking about when the supply is low, but you know the demand for you is high. People are going to come to you over the producer who's making beats that sound like everybody else's.
Right. And imagine you incorporate something in there that's only you. Like the only way to do it is your voice. That's why artists have such a moat around them. We had a little baby sound alike. I forget his name, but like only one person can sound like Timbaland. Only one person can sound like Jay-Z. Only one person can be Beyonce. Right. It's because you can't. I mean, you can, but you can't duplicate the branding of that voice.
Right.
Sounds. You know, I mean, depending on how creative people are, you know, you can create your own niche in different things. Here's what I was gonna say. And shout out to the chat. Forgive me, my brain is like stalling because I have a bright light in front of me. I'm looking away to try to retain my vision. Is what happens is when it comes to I forgot my point of thought. Rewind me just 3 seconds ago. I promise you on everything.
We were still talking about. I lost my train of thought because I'm trying to hold on to a thought that I wanted to piggyback onto there.
Help me out, chat. Help me out, chat. Oh, they're guessing my age.
Yeah.
How in the world do they know my age? Okay. Oh, I forgot to do the giveaway. Okay, so it looks like RJ Smooth got my, or no, sorry. Bam got my age first. How do you know my age though? That's kind of freaky. How the heck y'all know my age? I must have said it by accident. So shout out to Bam. He won. He is the first person to guess. Therefore, he gets Cable Guys halftime. So I appreciate you guys for listening this far. But I was saying, okay, the moat pricing. I was going on a tangent, and that's what I get. I lost my thought.
No, you're good. You're good. But I wanted to piggyback kind of onto that. So something that I always preach and I teach is.
Here's what it is. Sorry, you just said it. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
My bad. My brain just stutters, and then we get back on track. Okay. I have evidence. I did live streams because you were saying how like do your thing, and sometimes you're an early adopter.
Right.
Like you're way ahead of the curve. And here's the thing that people don't understand about like tutorials specifically is we're showing you guys how to produce the future of whatever the artist is most of the time.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of folks haven't been in the studio session, so they don't know what's really happening until a year later. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what's happening because everybody who's in the industry, they're trying to change it up. They don't want to sound like last year's whatever, whoever.
Right.
And so there was evidence that I have, and you just reminded me to repost it to my Instagram, is I recorded a live stream of me making like a Kanye type beat. And then that same exact sample, the same style, like the same, like the way it was literally ended up on Kanye's Donda. And I was like, at first I was like, did they just rip my beat off of YouTube? Like I made this so long ago. So whoever made that beat literally probably saw that live stream. And then there's another video before Drake's Scary Hours, the one with the blue cover. I did this really random technique. Like you said, do random stuff sometimes to stand out.
Right.
I ran like guitar rig through, what did I do? It was so random. It was like this resonance filter and guitar rig that I ran through some delays and reverb. It was like a super unique thing. It was so random. And then that same effect got used in the melody style in one of the Drake records on Scary Hours. And I'm just like, people don't know that we influence the people that make the records that end up going out to the public. Right. They just don't see it. There's not enough evidence for it. Well, but I have, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't think that they realize it though, because what people don't realize is that people watch these tutorials. So like, I'm not necessarily big on tutorials. I do live streaming. So if you want to, you know, catch beat making and stuff like that, for me, I live stream, you know, 3 times a week, and I cook up beats and stuff like that during my live stream. So I don't really focus much on the tutorials. But from somebody, you know, obviously who's still in the same space, what people don't realize is that the up and coming producer is a producer who had to learn just like you. You know what I'm saying? So like the next up and coming producer for Kendrick or whoever that the artist is going to be, or whatever young artist is out there, they're currently watching our videos or all the tutorials of all the YouTubers learning how to make beats. So a lot of times the ideas and the thought process and all the stuff that you see on these videos, like Busy saying, comes to fruition in the future, because when these artists are working on these albums, so like let's say I watched one of Busy's tutorials today about how to do a Drake type melody. So then I spend my time putting this beat together, and now I spend the next 2-3 days putting this beat together, so on and so forth. And then I've taken some of these ideas that I've seen on these videos and I put together a catalog of beats. Now I've sent this catalog of beats off to these artists. One of the beats might get chosen. So now they like this beat that I kind of figured out how to make a melody off of a tutorial that I caught online. And now the artist records their music, they do everything that they need to do, but it's still going to be a year time span from the time that they got that beat and they wrote that song to the time that they put their project out. So when you think about it in theory, a lot of the stuff that you are seeing online right now is going to come to fruition next year or the year after that, because, you know, it takes artists a year, 2 years, 3 years to put out projects. Beats don't necessarily get old unless you use dated sounds. So if you use dated sounds, or like if every song in here has like, right now has like an RFX bell from Omnisphere in it, well then that sound might sound dated in 3 years, because there's 50 songs out in 2022 that have that bell in there. In 2025, they're gonna be like, oh, that was the bell from 2022, you know. But if you're using things like pianos and guitars and like harps or violins or sounds that are staples in the music community, those beats can become timeless because you're using timeless sounds. So sometimes when you're making beats, why I always preach sound selection is important, because if you use sounds that are timeless sounds, then your beat can sound timeless. But if you use sounds that can be dated, like when you listen to anything that's synthwavy, it sounds dated because you're using all sounds from the 80s, but it's supposed to sound dated. That's the idea of the genre. You know, like when you listen to lo-fi music, you know it's lo-fi music because everything has got low fidelity. You know, you're taking all the high frequencies off everything. It's basically boom bap with, you know, all the high fidelity taken off. So I guess what I wanted to say real quick to follow in with something that you said about signature singers and how they have their sound and that's how their signature. I feel like the same thing with producers, and I feel like producers need to realize sometimes when you have beat block and you think that you can't make a beat, you need to finish making that beat, because I know sometimes to us, our beats may sound the same. So I may be starting this beat and I'm like, man, this sounds like a beat I made last week. Finish that damn beat. It don't sound the same to nobody else. You know, like you have your own signature sound as a producer. So like if you're always like arranging beats the same way and your beats always sound like you, that's good. That's a good thing. You want to have a signature sound. Like I know a Timberland beat when I hear it. I know a Dre beat when I hear it. You know, I know a whatever. I know a Simon Servita beat when I hear it. I know a Curtis King beat when I hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that I feel like producers need to keep doing, is just working through that beat block, because then you'll get to a time when you never have beat block. Like I know you for a fact, Busy, don't go through a lot of beat block because you put out enough videos with your content. I don't go through beat block. I don't never go through beat block. I make videos on beats on stream every day. I make a new beat for every demonstration that I'm gonna do. I don't get beat block because I'm not worried about this beat sounding like another beat. I'm just worrying about this beat sounding the best that I can make this beat sound right now. So,
No, true. And you just reminded me, another thing people overlook is that they think that their differentiate is the sound, like the product. Look at everything we do as the five senses. It just makes it easier. Like when you walk into Starbucks, what's the first thing you see outside? You see the Little Mermaid logo thing,
right,
or whatever that is, the little logo thing, whatever it is. And Bam, I need your IG too. Bam, I need your Instagram, please, to give him the prize.
No worries.
So the first thing you do is
you better give him that IG, Bam, or there's gonna be problems. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think, how many copies do I have? Yeah, darn, I only have one to give away right now.
If not, I could probably get him one, so it's all good. We'll get you that copy of. No matter what, you'll get that copy of Cable Guys Halftime, man. That's no problem.
Yeah, I think I could do like Shaper Box. There's something else they were giving away. I just forgot what it was. And what was I saying here? So the first thing you see outside is the Starbucks logo. Then you walk up to the doors, and then it was zzz. I'm assuming they have automatic doors. I don't know how Starbucks is, but let's say you pull the door open even. That's physical touch. Okay, now you walk in and you have olfactory senses, so you're smelling the coffee grounds. You're hearing the people talking around you, the baristas talking, or whoever's there. Then you go up to the cash register, so you physically touch your money or maybe your credit card or whatever. And then you hold the coffee, you're feeling the warmth. Okay, another feel. And then you take a sip. So that's taste. So we have taste, touch, smell, sight. And then I'm missing one of the five senses. I always do this.
Here.
Audio. Okay, boom. So most people are like, I have the dopest audio and it's different than this audio and that audio. But sometimes it's not about the audio. This is what made Producer Grind stand out. They had a physical product. They had live events. You know, it's more than just the information, the audio part. It's the touch. It's the tactile part. It's the proximity to celebrity. For example, you're rocking your brand right now.
Yeah.
The something tees. Yeah. What's the guy saying? Something keys?
Some hit the keys. That's what the HTK stands for, is hit the keys.
Oh, that's what HTK stands for?
Yeah, but that was too long to put for a YouTube name. You know what I'm saying? So, and then when I started, I actually rebranded. So my rap name used to be Cataract. I went by Cataract for like 20 years, man, maybe 18 years. But when I moved to Atlanta, I was like, I want to rebrand. I want to focus more on production and more stuff. So I rebranded, and I was going to go by just something. But then when I did, one day I was making a beat and I was like, man, what am I going to do for my beat tag? So then I did the something, hit the keys. And then I fixed it. It's like, yeah, that's what it's going to be. And so then I just went with the full something, hit the keys. I was going to do just something as a rapper and then hit the keys for producer tags. But I was like, whatever, man. It's just too much. I don't want to confuse them. So we'll just go some HTK, meet it halfway, and that's where we're at, you know?
That's hard because there's so many people like, how do I come up with a name? How do I, what brand name? You know, like I just looked at something that I like, and it was the Busy Work. It was Bathing Ape back in 2000s, whatever Pharrell and them were popping, and Lil Wayne. And then I saw them and there was a store called the Busy Works store in New York. I was just like, Busy Works, beats. I just added beats to the end. Like it wasn't that complicated. It wasn't this whole life journey to find my name. It was just, but me pushing the name so long made it become a name. Does that make sense?
Right. So
it's not the name. Yeah.
So that kind of brings us into the next thing. When these young artists are focusing on growing their brand, what would be the number one tip that you would have to focus on to start with building your brand?
Yeah. Firstly, see, I don't even know if they heard the beginning, so I should brand myself. For those who don't know me, I'm Game for BusyWorksBeats.com. We trained over 800,000 producers around the world. Some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, J. Cole, Trippie Redd, Young Thug, YG, just a long list of people. Platinum plaque winning, diamond plaque winning, Grammy winning. And I have a creative agency right now called Busy Signal where I'm helping like the top guys become even higher level guys. So to answer you,
Wait.
the branding,
You're gonna leave out, and we work with a bunch of companies like
uh,
Sweetwater, FL Studio, and you gonna leave all that out too?
they got their praise. I made them millions. They don't care. Like, forget them. But shout out to Arturia. Shout out to Cable Guy. Yeah, I work with Universal Audio. Like you said, Sweetwater, $600 million company. Razer, $1 billion company. Near Protocol, which is $7 billion market cap at one point. Now it's about half because the market went down. Isotope, I'm missing all the Waves. I'm going to miss Serato, Image Line. So I pretty much work with the top tier people in the world. That's kind of the gist of what I was saying. And to get back to your question, though, I want to make sure I'm answering this super accurately. It was branding, and then what was the core?
Sorry, real quick, Liam. I went ahead and let my mama name me. His mama named him Liam. I'm gonna call him Liam.
Liam.
But nah, it was if you could. Let me think.
It was just basically how do they brand?
Yeah, what would be your number one tip when they start off with branding? Like, what would be your number one tip for them to focus on?
The one thing is, what 2 words do you want people to associate to your brand? So I do this at my live events when I have them. I haven't had them in like 2 years. I'm trying to get my camera in focus if you see me moving around. Okay, so for example, when I say something, what 2 words do you want associated to you?
Now it's more of probably music influencer.
Okay,
I know that sounds maybe sound corny or cliche, but really, I've done thinking about this, and this is kind of probably going to tie into the next thing where we talk about, frauds or whatever in the music community. It's like when you think about what you want to do and what it is that you want to be. And at this point, I don't really necessarily want to be a famous rapper. I'm not really somebody who's looking to turn my beats into placements. That's just not what I'm chasing right now. I enjoy creating content around music. And so that's what I want to do with my life. That's what I enjoy doing. I don't have to like worry about going out on the road and touring. I'm old now, so I'm not trying to like be out until 3:00 in the morning at some club to perform. I'm not trying to do all that no more. So for me, I would rather be known as a just content creator, music influencer, good person, 2 words, all those are 2 words put together, or maybe a teacher, you know what I'm saying, mentor, but those are the things that I'd want to attach to my brand versus, this platinum artist or whatever, because that's not what I'm chasing anymore. At this point in life, I'm comfortable sitting at home, playing with music all day and creating content around it.
Right. And the platinum guys are coming to guys like BusyWorks Beats to get help to be online. So it's a lot of people will be humbled. One thing that humbled me was that I don't know if you see it because I have a bunch of junk behind me. Actually, you're going to see the terrible trash on the floor. I was cleaning up. Long story short, I have a YouTube plaque behind me. It's way back there for like the first 100,000. And I was in a commercial studio right next to a guy who worked with Will Smith, Music Soul Child. Like he's music. It's not like hack music. And he had plaques on the wall, ASCAP awards, all types of stuff. And I'm like, man, like I want to get like y'all, because when you get in a commercial studio with people next to you and all they have is plaques in the hallways, you're like, I just want a plaque for decoration. It just looks nice.
Right.
And I was like, man, like I was like, nah, he asked me something or whatever. And I was like, yeah, if I put my YouTube plaque out there, it's just gonna look like different compared to everybody having their plaques with Cardi B and all this stuff. And then he was like, nah, man, he's like, that one plaque means that's harder to get than all this. Like that humbled me for a second. He was like, and that's not even like the gold plaque. That's the YouTube 100,000 subscriber plaque. He's like, that plaque is harder to get than all these plaques combined. I don't know if he said combined. I might be adding a little sauce to it. But my point is that humbled me to say that sometimes it's not about all the showy stuff. It's about the internal stuff. Like, for example, you're a contributor. That's what gives you that excitement to keep helping people. You're brand aligned, so that's super smart, which means now you can make infinite content. You're never going to run that content. They have, how hard it is for companies to find somebody to review headphones and like interfaces and monitors and that's hard for these companies to find. I'm not going to put out details, but I work with these top companies and they're always scrambling. Like, do you guys know anybody who can make a video about this? Because they're trying to push the sales and like get the product out, and the companies never have the sales proper. They released this $60,000 thing, and they're like, all right, you make it work.
Right.
So we have this infinite opportunity. It's a whole new market. And it's fun. Like, who wants to use the same plugin every day?
Right.
Sometimes I want to try a new plugin.
Right.
It's just fun.
Right.
But
right.
There, this, and it's such a creative world. You can create your own foundation and then work with these companies as like a cherry on top type of thing. Speaking of cherry on top, I want everybody in the chat. We're going to do a little group participation exercise. So when I say the word ice cream, what two words come to your mind, chat, when I say the words ice cream? And I'll let you answer first, and then we'll read what the chat has to say.
So you want me to answer?
So when I say the word, okay. Yeah. So when I say the word ice cream, what two words come to your mind?
I'll pass.
Should be eating ice cream either. That's hilarious.
Lactose intolerant. Oh, I'm not lactose intolerant. I just don't mess with milk like that, man. It's not for me.
Indeed. No, that's funny. Oh, they said, let's see what somebody said. You scream. Jokes. Paint job. Oh, like ice cream paint job. Who sang that song? Was that Paul Wall? Let me see. Paint job. You scream. Perk. What are y'all talking about? Creamy idea. Dessert treat. Stomach ache. Cookie dough.
I probably should have told you can't ask my chat nothing, man. They're super respectful, man, but they will troll. They be trolling me every live stream.
It's like percussion. What you mean percussion? No, sweet tooth. So yeah, so most people. So my point is, when we think about ice cream, you would think that everybody would say vanilla and ice cream cone or something like that.
All right.
But no, we all, for the simple word of ice cream, we all have this different definition in our brain. That's branding. Is how do you trigger somebody's individual brain Google? We all have Google in our brain. So how do I show up in, let's say Weaver Beats said, what did he say? He said cookie dough. So when he thinks about cookie dough, how do I show up in his Google results in his mind? So that's branding, is how do you associate? Because the geeky part to it is the brain works off of what are called associational trees and neural pathways. And the brain operates off of the path of least resistance. So, you have to train your brain to create new paths if you want to think new thoughts. So our job is to create impressions on the brain, to create the little pathways. So by the time they see our thing 1,000 times, it's already built in the brain. So when they think ice cream, their brain sends a signal, goes immediately to whatever the first thing is. And you got to be first in that neuronal tree, because the brain works off of association. This is another element of branding. Like, I don't have anything cool around me, but if I show you my YouTube plaque, for example, somewhere behind me, that's a high value thing that people understand. So when I associate myself with that thing, it pulls the high value out of that thing onto me. That's why you see Rick Ross in a Rolls Royce. They always talk about Rolex, private jet, all this type of stuff, all these symbols, because when people see those symbols, those are called wealth signals or wealth symbols that can't be faked. Usually they can be faked, but biologically speaking, these are signals that people look for to determine status and access to resources. So, for example, like if you have 2 private jets, it's kind of hard to fake 2 private jets. Right. Like if you're riding around in a Ferrari, chances are it's a real Ferrari.
Right.
So that's branding, is how do we create association to value? And that's what people leave out. They have great content. They have great, knowledge of the craft. They have great music, but they never associate to anything that's already known. So that even goes back to the beginning. And I do all this stuff in my creative agency. So even taking it all the way back to the beginning, when I said that people niche down too far, that's the problem, is that we're branding ourselves as these microscopic things that nobody understands. Like I'm trying not to put people out there. So let me rechange the word. But let's say I was talking about FL Studio, and then I talk about the Z Game video editor. It's like, as a beginner, I'm not even going to know to look up Z Game video editor. It's not even my conscious mind to even search Z Game video editor.
Right.
So like, why am I doing a video on? It's too specific. You got to go back all the way back to FL Studio beginner, like the main keyword. Then you can travel down that rabbit hole to deliver more and more value for the people who ask for it. And that's the biggest mistake people make, is they go too microscopic and they think they're about to blow up. No, it's just never. You could be the king of a small pond. and just stay in the small pond. I mean, if that's what people want to do, that's on them. But as far as growth and meaning something in life, that's what it comes down to. So it's about repeating. You asked a question that's very good, is that branding is also trust. So it's how you build trust with your audience. What I say I'm going to do is what I'm going to do. McDonald's says you're going to get a Big Mac. When you open up that box, it's a Big Mac. They do it every single time consistently. And that's what creates that trust. Now, if I go to have you ever been to a service business?
I was a general manager for 20 or for like 12 years, man. So I know all about the service business.
Oh yeah. Like I'm trying to think of some service, like maybe like a car detailing service.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, I want to go to Todd's car detailing service. And I'm ready to spend money with Todd. I'm like, Todd's right down the street. He's very convenient. I want to support, a Black man's business. I'm changing the name because there's a guy down the street and he's a fellow Black man with the car detailing. So shout out to him. I'm changing his name for the story sake. And let's say I go to hit him up because he gave me a business card when I was walking by. And I said, let's say I go to hit him up and he doesn't respond. And then he responds 2 weeks later. Oh man, darn. I forgot I had this other phone for business. What's up? What you need? And then I answer him and then he responds a day later. And then he's like, it's this terrible communication channel. And then let's say we set it up that's how I feel bad, because yesterday we were supposed to go live, but I had to push it because something else happened where I double booked and then ended up not going live with that person. And now we're here today.
It worked out, man, because I was working on this video, so it worked out good. I got to do a bunch of BRoll shots and stuff like that yesterday. So no worries, man. No worries.
BRoll is the key.
Yeah, B-roll.
And shout out to BRoll. And so again, all the communication stuff is all wobbly and terrible. So let's say, okay, me and Todd scheduled for tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. So, okay, it's coming, across 12 p.m. Eastern, 11:50. Todd's like, oh man, I won't be home to do the car detailing business or, the service. You want to schedule for tomorrow? It's like, Todd, you told me tomorrow at 12, like mean tomorrow at 12. So what people say has to match what they do. Like whatever they say, you guys got to be careful with this, because I've seen it a lot, is don't make a promise that is not going to be fulfilled to your audience. Like, I can't think of something off the top of my head, but like, so you say they're going to make a product. Go ahead.
Or something like, here's what gets me about YouTube is like when creators tell you, okay, all right, I'm going to have a video out for you guys next week on this. And then the video doesn't come out. Or like when they create a video and like they've, like, I know I've been behind lately, guys. But I promise you that from this point forward, I'm going to put out 3 videos a week. And then they disappear for a week and a half. It's like, I was going to say, what you're saying right now is what I was going to say is the most important thing. Mean what you say and say what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Say what you mean what you say. So if you say you're going to do something, it doesn't matter how hard it is to get it done, you got to get it done. Like, I feel like you're super consistent. So, like you're probably the most consistent YouTuber in this music area out there. Not just saying that because you're on the stream, but just being real. You always going to do your live streams, always going to have your content out. So for me, when I'm in this space, when I started, I was looking up to people like you, people like Av. At the time, Curtis was really putting out a lot of content. He's doing what he's doing now, which is perfectly fine. No knock to Curtis. No knock to anybody. But I was like, what are these people doing that are different than some of these other content creators who may have been on this platform, just as long or for 5 years, but they have 1,000 subscribers. This person's got 100,000, 200,000, 3,000. What are they doing differently? So then I noticed that you guys typically, whenever you say you're going to drop a video, you drop a video. If you say that you're going to go live stream on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, every single fucking Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, your ass is going to be on live stream. And if people don't show up to the live stream, you're still going to do your whole entire live stream because you've promised to some people that you're going to do your live stream. And so I try to do those same things. And that's kind of where, I don't know if you consider my growth fast or slow. I've been on YouTube for like 2 years. I think I have like 13.8 thousand. I don't know if that, I don't really know if that's good or bad, that's just where I'm at. But I know I'm consistent. I know that I'm going to upload videos 2 to 4 times a week. I'm going to live stream every single Wednesday, every single Friday, every single Sunday. I'm going to follow through with the things that I say to the people. So if I tell somebody that I'm going to do a feature for them, then I'll give them that feature. But whatever it is that I say I do, I'm going to try to be consistent and do. except
I
for
love that.
mixing down the full beat on a demo,
Yeah.
because I ain't never doing that shit. I ain't never
Yeah.
mixing down a full beat on a demo. Y'all ain't getting that from me.
Yeah, I'm like, why do people expect hit songs every video? Like, you understand how much time that would, it would
Right,
take like 12 hours just to do that one small video. It would eat up all our day and it
right.
wouldn't make any business sense. You said something key in there, which is take me back one step because you said something so major in there. I want people to really like focus on what you just said.
Say what you mean and mean
Before,
what you say.
oh yeah,
And consistency is key. You know.
have you ever been raised in like the church or like in the church system?
Yeah, man. I definitely was in. I was I was in choir and I can't sing. That's how we used to go to church when I was a kid growing up. My family was big into church. I got cousins who were pastors and stuff like that. I don't really do the church thing now, but I did grow up in the church.
Okay. Have you heard of TBN before?
I
The
don't.
network? It's like a TV show where
Uh.
they had like all these religious people. So imagine you guys like at BT late at night when you're listening to you fall asleep, you wake up and it's TD Jakes, and then
Right.
you fall back to sleep, you wake up and his booty shaking videos. Like, how did I get here? How is this the
It's
same
TV
network?
uncut. Yeah.
so so yeah, there was a station called TBN. So they kept preaching like the world's gonna end, guys, in 2012. The world's gonna end. I need you to raise your right hand and come on down here and accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And it was just like this world thing. And I always thought like Jesus was gonna pop up in the sky like a star and just fly down and just blow up the earth. And they had us scared to death watching TBN. The chat knows what I'm talking about. So my whole thing was like, once their predictions didn't come true, I'm like, why am I listening to these people? Like, the world didn't end in 2012, didn't end
Right.
in 2011, it didn't end in
Right.
2020, it didn't end. Like, why do they keep saying it's about to end and it's not? Then I realized I can't like what they're saying is not matching up with what's happening, and that's what creates that distrust in all communications. Is when, like I said, like the promise is not matched. Like, for example, I have opt-in rates for those who want to know. Again, I started a creative agency, so I teach all this stuff on a higher level to people who want to be those high performers. I have opt-in rates that are above 90% on average, which means almost everybody who shows up to a page signs up with their email. The question is why? It's more than the thing that I'm giving them. That's not why it's over 90%. It's because I built up so much trust. People are like, oh, he's for sure going to give me whatever he promised in the video.
Right.
He's not going to lie to me like everybody else. Like, that's what takes your opt-in rates from 50% to 90 and above. I have this is for more marketers. I literally have an opt-in page that did above 100%. And I have the actual screenshot evidence. So, and this all is based on trust. If y'all don't, how did you say it? Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
And people also, here's another thing. I just want to anecdote on what you said, because you said a lot, is consistency. Like, people think consistency is just doing something over and over and over and over and over. That's repetition.
Right.
Like, I want people to distinguish repetition from consistency. Consistency is having density to what people are putting out. It's the consistency of the cake. It means that it's dense. You don't say the repetition of the cake. You say the consistency of the cake. So I think people are, what do they call it when they swap the words?
Yeah, I think sometimes people get consistency mixed up with consistently.
Oh, that's deep.
You know what I'm saying? So I consistently come to whatever, but consistency means that I like you're saying, there's depth, just like you're saying, there's depth behind what you're doing. So with consistency, you want it to be, if you need to make cake batter and you need it to be the same consistency, then that means that you have to put in the same amount of work every single day, but you have to have all the ingredients there too in order to make it the right consistency. So consistency is more than just, like you're saying, repetition. It's making sure that you have all the ingredients in your recipe, along with the mixture of the recipe, to make sure that the recipe comes out, as a fire dish, whatever it is that or fire cake or fire whatever it is that you're making. So that statement, consistency is key, is more than people really realize. When people say consistency is key, they're not just saying go to work every day. You know what I'm saying? What's the recipe? The recipe is work hard, show up on time, work hard, go every day, take some feedback, train others, like step up, be a leader. All those other things come with consistency. It's not just doing the same thing every single day. You know what I'm saying?
No, I like that. You took it even to a higher level, which is consistency versus constantly.
Right.
That's deep. Because yeah, so you're helping me reform my definition as consistently is like form, like a shape. And then constantly is like constant, what happens constantly, what never changes, basically.
Right.
And yeah, I've noticed a lot of people mix up repetition. Sorry, dog hair floating around. But I noticed people mix up repetition with consistency. So all I'm saying is people need to focus on quality when it comes to consistency. It doesn't mean rapid repetition of junk. Now, the only way to get to quality, quite literally, and I teach this in my creative agency, is you have to have iterations. You have to start with video 1 and have a minimum of, let's say, 25 videos. Because in biology, there's something called the scientific method, and you can't have what's called statistical significance if it's not, I think it's less than 25 data points, for example. So if you don't have 25 data points, you can't even come to a conclusion, is my point. You can't say this doesn't work if we've never done 25 of the thing that we're looking at.
Right.
And done it constantly. Okay. So it starts with, let's say, video 1 through 25. We're going to take the data and look at all the highlight points as to where people are focusing in those videos. Then we take all that DNA, we extract it out of like, maybe they like this video because I'm waving my hands, like going crazy because I'm just trying to block this light from being in my face. Okay. So, or maybe they like the video because your lighting is blue, orange, it looks like, a red.
Red, yeah. It looks a little pinkish with that blue mixed in there. Yeah, just
then the red hat pops.
Yeah.
Then the red hat pops. So maybe they're focused on that because they like that aesthetic, that it feels like a sunset in there. Then we extract that DNA and we say, okay, next video, I'm gonna do, since I know people paused at the red and blue light part, I'm gonna put a red and blue light behind me when I open the video. Now people stay longer. Like you literally can't, my point is you literally can't have quality. And shout out to Rob Snow with the
yes, thank you, Rob.
$4.99. You can't have quality unless you look at the data and say, what do people even, where is the value in what I say? Like, how people say like create value. What does that mean? Create value. What the heck does that even mean? Like it. So you have to look at data to even see what people value in a video, for example. Like they might rewind to the part that you just don't even expect. Like, oh, the part where I dropped my guitar pick, they think that's funny. I'm going to do it again. Well, that's value to them. Yeah.
Well, see, tagging on to that, excuse me, that I always tell everybody too, like with your music or with anything you do, follow all the way through with it. So just like we were talking about earlier, finish the beat. Sometimes the beats that people think are the hardest beats that I make are the beats that I would never, ever push play on again. You know what I'm saying? Or like sometimes I'll put out a video and it be the video that only took me a half hour to prepare for, 12 minutes to record. The edit was really easy because I didn't mess up because it was an easy video to do. And I was like, this video is probably not going to do that great, but it might help out a few people. I'll drop the video. Next thing you know, that's the video with 20,000 views, 30,000 views. And you're like, I can't even believe that video is the video that blew up for me this week. And every other video I dropped only got 1,000 views or 2,000 views or something like that. So you're saying, you can't necessarily, how can I put this? You can create value without understanding that you're actually creating value, because like what you're saying, what somebody who watches your channel values and what you value may be two different things. So since you don't know what this person values, you can find out what people value by, like you're saying, your little most replayed part, or you can find out where the drop off is, or you can find out if this is the video that people like the most, or you can find out if this is the beat that people like to hear the most. Now you can grab this piece that people are loving and focus more attention on that, and you've created more value for that because you've identified that people like this part, I guess.
No, that's super deep. That's super. You just reminded me about something we kind of tapped into, but I want to repeat, is that it sounds so simple too. But if you guys are content creators in the chat and you're making videos that you want to make, and it's just, I do it for me. And it's just like, great. You could be your only viewer and nobody else is going to watch. And that's just the bottom line. Imagine, I'm trying to think of a girl analogy because I like using dating. Imagine, it might be too raunchy. Never mind. But imagine you take your girl out to eat. Let's use that example. And then you only go to restaurants you like. And she's slowly getting sadder and sadder and sadder. She's like, will I ever go to Ruth Chris? Will we ever go to Poppy Steak? Because like, that's where she wants to go. But if you never deliver what the other person wants, you're never going to get what they have. So how do you expect something that somebody else has, which is money or views or attention, but you never give them what they want?
Right.
That's craziness to me. How people expect people to pull out money for what are you giving them in exchange for the money? So that's something people need to focus on.
I agree. I had a conversation about this maybe a month ago, and it was just about certain things about drawing in and growing your channel. So it's like, for me, I started off. It's funny. I started off doing tutorials first, right? But that
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. But I knew that there was a lane for it, and so I tried. But that's not my strength. My strength isn't sitting down and I guess it is now, but at the point in time when I first started, my strength wasn't sitting down and making a tutorial and explaining it and then making a fire beat, because I was like too focused on the explanation versus the actual content, because the explanation isn't necessarily the content. It's part of the content, but if you make a bad beat and then you're trying to explain to somebody how you made this bad beat, you're not gonna be able to keep this. You're not gonna be able to keep the viewer there. But if you're making a fire beat and the explanation may not be the greatest, but they can see what you're doing, then in return they're gonna enjoy that more. And so I'm more focused on the explaining side. So then I started doing. I wanted to do plugin reviews when I first started, because when I grew up, we didn't really have plugins, and then we didn't have like a lot of free plug. There was free plugins weren't even a thing. That didn't even exist back when I grew up. You know, so like just being able to explain through some of these tools can help people in a way that I can teach well. So like if I can teach somebody how to use this new reverb that came out, they can take what I'm teaching them about this new reverb and apply it to any reverb. If I'm teaching somebody how to take a transient shaper like Diablo or something and put it on a drum bus and make your drums hit harder and do all this stuff in a tutorial, well, whether you get this Diablo or not, I'm not bound to the company. You know, I mean, I don't mean this to sound jacked up, and I'm not meaning this disrespectful way. I'm more bound to the viewers than I am to the companies that have these plugins. So if you just take the tips of what we're showing you, like you may have Crack, you may have Cashmar Kick Essentials, you may have all these other tools that are transient shapers. Just take the ideas that I'm giving you with this plugin and apply it to the plugin that you have. You know, I don't expect for everybody to buy every plugin that I put out. That's preposterous. You know what I'm saying? But I want to provide an honest review for you. I want to show you how you can use this stuff on more than one thing. So you can use it on drums, you can use it on synths, you can use it on guitars, you can use it on vocals, as to where the typical reviewer will just focus on whatever the company says that this plugin's about. I'm gonna teach you different ways to get different kind of sounds and mangle different kind of sounds and do different stuff and just use it differently, because you can use it on everything and it'll just get you a unique sound. So once I kind of got into this lane, this was the lane that I wanted to be in, this lane, and then maybe doing some like vlogish type stuff, but not like just necessarily around just making beats, just clowning or whatever it is like that. But
No, I feel you.
it just took me time and repetitions to figure out what it is that I wanted to do and what I was going to be comfortable doing in this YouTube space. But to tie this all together, I had to get input from the viewers too, because I'm like, how come you all don't want to watch my tutorial videos? But like, I got 2,000 views on this freaking, Valhalla Supermassive review. And they're like, well, because you do a good job of explaining plugins and stuff. We like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, your tutorials are, but this is fire. But then once I got to doing live streams, then I got to be myself, and I got to, I could do tutorials or make beats or collaborate with other artists and stuff like that at my own pace. And I'm not worried about people tuning in to get how to EQ something or how to slide an 808. They're tuning in to hang out with the live streams, maybe catch a couple tips on a beat and participate in the chat. So I just basically, long story short, I had to figure out what my lane was, and that was through listening to other subscribers versus doing a video for me today. They're doing a video for you tomorrow, doing a video for me today. Why do I necessarily have to do a video for me? I can just do that shit at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to do a video about how I love to make this kind of 808 if nobody wants to see it. I can just do that at home and be just as happy, and then create content to make other people happy, So that was just trying to tie it together with what you were saying there.
No, you said it perfectly, which is it really comes down to, this is also a part of branding, is it's the way people enter is the way they exit. So I'll say it this way. I know I'm being vague, But even business owners will tell you, if we don't build a business to sell from the very beginning, it's going to be impossible to sell. Like, for example, BusyWorks Beats, I'm the face of the brand. Therefore, if I try to sell my company and it goes to a different owner and I'm not the face, it's not going to have the same results.
Right.
So you can't, like, personality-based business, you can't really exit those types of businesses or sell them off. And so, for example, if I wanted to start a YouTube channel and my goal was to align with these sponsors, I would go, okay, my content has to be safe enough to where they would pick those keywords. I kind of jumped to the next step, but it has to be safe enough to where I'm not cursing and turning off a bunch of moms who are going to buy this plugin. And then 2, it has to have those big keywords. Like, think as if you're an advertiser. I'm running an ad campaign. I'm trying to reach 20 million people because I want to sell the software. If I'm trying to reach 20 million people, I'm not thinking about, what did I say? Z game editor,
right?
Whatever. Like, right. I'm typing in FL Studio. I'm not typing in anything other than FL Studio, music production, beat making, all the other ones. And my point in saying that is that when you align with those keywords and then you also align with the style to where people can trust you and you're not, I mean, there's some people out there who are mavericks, they'll just say whatever. And it's great. Like MG the Future, for example, he's amazing. I love MG the Future because he goes on rabbit holes. He curses randomly, craft master production. There's more, like thoughtful people out there. The issue with those brands to advertisers is, they're a risk. They might say something that might turn off our soccer mom, audience, right, or whatever. So they can't share the video because if they go to the other videos, then it's going to be associated with their brand. So you have to start your channel to where, if that's the goal, I'm not saying everybody's goal is to work with sponsors, but you have to start backwards. You have to say what aligns with sponsors to where they'll keep spending money so that I have content and the operations capital to keep this thing rolling. And then what gives the viewer value to keep novelty in front of them. That's why I think when you do is so powerful, because we need novelty. Like, the reason we watch the news every day is because it's new. Like, right, nobody ever stops to think. The news is new information every single day. That's why people watch the news. It's not to stay informed. It's because it's new information. And we need that on this side.
So I remember when, and again, I'm not trying to, this is obviously it's all love here, man. So I remember, so I'm just bringing this up because it just feels into the next topic.
Oh, go ahead. You got the disclaimers going.
All right. So I remember when you and Curtis did the video a couple months back, just kind of detailing some of the things that you guys had went through. But in that video, I only bring that up because in that video, you guys talked about, doing tutorials and not tutorials, but doing like plugin reviews. And why you guys don't like to do them is because you're putting the company's name, you're giving the company all your access to all your viewers. So you basically, this isn't how you said it. You said it more elegantly than I can say it right now. But basically for you, and this is not, I don't think this is a slight at me or nothing like that either, but this is kind of going, it's leading somewhere, man, I promise you. So, okay. But you were like, for you, the companies use you to get access to your subscribers because your subscribers trust you. And at the end of the day, you do more for the companies than the companies do for you in return. So with that being said, I know part of this conversation luckily happened because of a video, that went through the community from Weaver. Then you had a response. I made a response. There's another video by Barry Johns, similar topic, but that's kind of what the second part of my video is on. Now I say all that because I feel like,
real quick, is Barry Johns the guy who complains about everything all the time?
No, Barry Johns is a guy, I don't know if he complains about stuff all the time. He's an older Caucasian male with glasses.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, okay. it could
no,
be.
I like his videos. I'm
right.
saying that's his niche. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, he complains about Avid. He complains about some things, Shout
to Barry. I love Barry.
Yeah, but I do like his content. I watch his content. But in the community, there's a lot of discussion where some people feel like the people who do stuff like I do shouldn't post affiliate links or shouldn't be paid for reviews. Now, from somebody who is a lot deeper into this and has a bigger perspective than just your typical average, viewer or subscriber, what are your thoughts on reviewers getting paid or affiliate links or whatever the case is?
Yeah, I'll start from the viewer's perspective and I'll have empathy for them. So their main concern is they're like, I trust this person because they have more awareness than me. So they're trusting you with their decision. So they think if somebody else is influencing your decision, then they can't trust your decision. Like, for example, I was actually talking to my girl about this. Shout out to Danny, my beautiful love right now, and for life and forever. We were talking about like people's influence over other people. So basically, when you have an intent, like the way a leader is because their intent is the result. Meaning, like whenever they set an intent, it doesn't get modulated, it doesn't get changed, it doesn't veer off.
Right.
Like a leader knows exactly where they're going. If I say we're landing in Dallas, Texas, I'm going exactly to the Dallas, Texas airport. I'm not going to Arizona. I'm not going to, Missouri. I can't think of other states. So the whole point is a leader, you have trust in that they have vision to get you to a given destination. So they're like, okay, you have more awareness than them. They have to believe you're the parent to them. You have to lead them and guide them. And when they become vulnerable like that and they feel like, they're not trusting you, but somebody else that they don't know, it's the unknown that scares people. They're like, darn, I don't know this other person and I don't trust them to guide me anywhere. I don't know where the other person's going or the company is going. Like, what's their intent? So that's where people have that, what is called dissonance in the mind, that cognitive, what do you call it when like cognitive dissonance? Yeah, I just said it. When people feel that. So that's starting from the viewer's perspective. I understand that. Now, with the creator perspective, what happens is legally, we're supposed to disclose when we're paid to talk about something, because then the audience says, okay, this isn't necessarily their opinion. It's just an advertisement. But the way a lot of companies were being sneaky was, paying influencers and then telling them to push the product, but then they would never disclose that to the public. So it's similar to politicians. If they don't tell you the stocks they're invested in, or like the companies they're invested in, or like if a company doesn't, or if a leader in a company doesn't tell you that he has stock in X, Y, and Z company, and then he talks about like what's his name? Elon. Like if he talks about any company, it blows up.
Right.
He has to disclose.
He was blowing up crypto.
Yeah, everything. He has to disclose legally to the public that he has a vested interest in so-and-so. He can't just be like, buy Dogecoin. It has to be like, I own Dogecoin. You should too, like that. So that's the balancing act. But that's the legalities behind it, but people don't really follow like the rules. So that's the confusion part. I think creators should think of it more strategically. It's like real estate to me. Like, would you not pay your real estate agent if they got you in a nice home?
Right.
Like the real estate the real estate agent is the person who just showed you around the home. They didn't build the house. They don't own the house. They just showed you around and gave you cookies at the open house. So they deserve their credit because they introduced you to something and you trusted their guidance that they would give you exactly what you were looking for. The house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a backyard. You trusted them. So that's what you're buying. That's what you're exchanging with them, is that trust. So going back to your point about that trust. But if the person who actually owned the house, let's say they're from China, and let's say the buyer was super like biased against China because of what China's been doing lately politically, then if the person knew that the person who owned the house was from China and they tried to interface with that person to show them that same exact house, they wouldn't buy the house. So you have to have these avatars, they're called, the front-facing people who will help the consumer receive the product or the information. So think about food, for example. Diabetes is when your body the cells reject sugar, so it stays in the bloodstream. Our cells they're called receptors for sugar, glucose, to pull it into the cell. But what happens when the receptor is what's called saturated, meaning it's blocked? We don't receive that information. So my point is, you need different receptors to receive information sometimes. So different people on YouTube and content creators are those receptors for different companies. Like people might not like vanilla ice cream. They might like chocolate. They might like what's the green one with the chocolate chips, mint chocolate chip. They might like raspberry ice cream. I'm going to get a buyer to my company. I just have to put out different flavors. And that's what content creators are technically, is avatars that these companies look for, like flavors of ice cream. I know this buyer's coming in. They like ice cream, but they don't like chocolate. They'll get the strawberry one though. So the money's still going to the bigger company. And that's how they look at us as content creators. But I took it a level higher, which is to say, this is what my creative agency is about. is how do we protect the content creator? How do we get the content creator more deal flow coming from these companies? How do we create an internal ecosystem to where we don't need the companies? When we launch a product, we're going to incentivize everybody in our circle to get paid and all these different things so that we're taken care of internally. And if we want to do a giveaway with Arteria, sure, we'll do a giveaway. But we're going to be building email leads. We're going to be using their giveaway thing as a way to build our email list. Because what do we actually control? The email list, the text list. We don't control social media. I know I'm going on and on about different things, but I can take my email list from MailChimp over to Klaviyo. I can take it from Klaviyo over to ActiveCampaign. I can take it from ActiveCampaign to HubSpot. I can't take my Instagram followers and go, hey, I want my Facebook to look dope this month. Let me take my 100,000 Instagram followers and move them over to Facebook so I have 300,000 so it looks cooler. You can't do that. And the one thing you guys truly own in this modern age is the communication channel called email and text. That's the only thing we truly own as a way to communicate with our audience without any outside filtering. Technically, there's email filters and technically there's phone carrier filters, but outside of those things, we can't be blocked, so to speak, unless we're breaking the law. So my point is, I know this is a long roundabout thing, is when content creators shift from, once you gain more equity built off of trust with your audience, like a real estate agent, once they've done enough deals to be like, okay, I have 60,000 saved up. Now they can go invest in that property and they own it now. So the property they're trying to sell, they own it. That's why I made my software plugin. That's why I made drum kits. That's why I made courses. I want to own everything on my screen. So regardless of what I talk about, it's going to flow back to me at some point. And that's how I think people should start thinking, is how much equity do they have in whatever they're talking about. But if they do want to do the sponsor thing, here's what I'm going to pose to your audience who are content creators is, if you guys want to do the sponsor thing, use the sponsors as giveaways and then build up a massive email list. That's the value. So that's a little trick that I found. It's called other people's money, other people's assets, other people's resources, other people's knowledge. Use cable, like I just did it today. We gave away Cable Guys halftime. I use that to keep people to watch till now. I probably should give away something else to keep people watching to the end of this stream, because I'm using other people's stuff to benefit me and yourself.
Right.
I didn't build halftime, you know what I mean? So,
well, see, that's one thing that I do like about when you kind of, you start doing reviews and you start doing stuff like that, you start building connections with these companies. And these companies want to sponsor your content. Like, you're like, I got a beat battle coming up. I'm going to do an announcement on it for August 2nd. Anybody who's here in the chat, you get to hear that a little early, but we're gonna have a beat battle on the channel in collaboration with the little Facebook group I run that's got like 106,000 members.
Wow.
I'm an admin in the group. It's called FL Studio Producers Moderated Group. But it's easy to use these companies. I don't want to say use, but it's easy to partner with these companies to get them to help you out when you've done these reviews. I guess I ask about the affiliate thing because I only think about it from my perspective. I get the perspective of there's going to be people who, like, let's say Unison wants to give you, $1,000 to promote Drum Monkey. People are going to take it. They're going to take that $1,000 every single time, and they're going to do injustice to the producer community, or at least to the younger producers. Where, is that a bad plugin? No, it's not a bad plugin. It's genuinely not a bad plugin. It's not worth $300, and that's the problem with the plugin, is that it's not worth $300. But when you have people of high influencing them, I get that. That's not right. That's a conflict of interest. But with anything in life, you deserve to be paid for your work. And so a lot of times companies, they send over a review, and if you have 20,000, 100,000, 200,000 subscribers, and you really like a product, and you do a review on this product, you have 100,000 subscribers, maybe 2,000 people on your channel like that plugin, and now 2,000 people have went and bought this plugin because of a review that you did. Yes, you've done a service to the producer community, and you've hipped them up to a new plugin that's going to get their sound nice. It's going to get everything to sound good for them. You've made this company, you sold 2,000 copies. Let's say it's a $50 plugin, right? So you've made this company $100,000. You didn't get an affiliate link. You didn't get paid for your review. You did help out a bunch of producers. You made this company $100,000, and you've gotten the $100 that YouTube paid you in ad revenue. Where's the trade-off there? And I feel like sometimes when you are the consumer and when you are other content creators, it's your job to find the people that you trust to do the right things. So it's like me. I only do reviews on stuff that I like. So that's kind of my channel. You know, you're not going to get the spicy content all the time, because if I don't like a plugin, I'm not wasting my time making a beat with that plugin. I'm not wasting my time trying to make that plugin look good in the review. I'm not wasting my time recording a video, editing the video, uploading the video, remember, like you said earlier about the comments, you know, sometimes those comments get to us, man. I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of negative comments and thumbs down on a video because y'all are like, we don't like that plugin either, so we're going to give the video a thumbs down. So now I got to take a thumbs down for the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about that life, man. I'm not about that. I'm just trying to do reviews on stuff that I like, share stuff that I like with people, share tips that I like, you know, stuff like that. So I guess when I think about it from my perspective, I think about it from the perspective of somebody who's trying to do right by the producer community versus somebody who's like, well, if they give me $200 this month for that review, they give me $500, they give me $700, I've made $2,400, I can pay my rent this month. All right, I'm good. I'll just do it like that. And that's not how I think. So, you know.
Yeah, let's break that down. For example, for those who don't know the value, because this is the problem, they just don't know what to charge. So what you do is you go into your YouTube analytics, you click on a tab that says, I think, revenue, and you'll see to the far right, it will say for your whole channel, it will say CPM. That's the cost per milli that it costs an advertiser to advertise on your channel. So let's say mine's around $15. Let's say yours, like the person listening, let's say theirs is $10. And what you then do is take that number, that $10 per milli, meaning per thousand. You now go to your YouTube channel and you look at all the views you've ever gotten. Then you divide all your views you've ever gotten by how many videos you've made. So if you got 100,000 views and you made 100 videos, 100,000 divided by 100 is 1,000. So on average, we get 1,000 views per video. So let's make it like realistic numbers. My average right now is about 35,000 on average. So even though I drop a video and it may have 2,000 plays in the first 7 days or whatever, on average, if you calculate the entire lifetime of a video, it averages 35,000 views per video over time. So what I do now is I take that number and I take the total amount of views on my channel divided by, again, let's say 100, and I'm using rough numbers, 138 million views on my channel divided by 3,900 something videos. People complain and I'm like, have you even made 1,000 videos? I've made almost 4,000 videos.
Right.
Like, and so my point is 30 million, let's say, divided by 3,900. That gives you your average view per video. So you take out three decimal places because it's per milli. So if you average 35,000 views per video, you take out the 3 zeros at the end. And then you multiply 35 times your CPM. So it's 35 times, our example was $10. So 35 times 10 is your minimum price for a video, $350. You now know your value to an advertiser if they were to go through Google. Now, what I do is I understand my actual power. When I mention something, people go buy it. They talk about it. They have word of mouth. They use my name as likeness. It's a lot of other things on top of just clicks.
Right.
It's a lot of weight, but weight comes with branding. So now I charge $2,000 per video. If people want me to even name drop their thing, minimum $2,000. Why is that? You mentioned this before. Is that when we talk about a company, I've seen the back end. I've made ImageLine tens of millions of dollars. I've made other companies hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've connected people with other people who have gone to make, I don't know if in the millions, because I can't claim everybody, but let's say combined they made in the millions. A lot of producers who made software, for example. I know the power of what I do. Like, I know the power. So I need to charge people properly up front. Unless, for example, let me make it easier. There's 3 things you guys can do if you want to become a content creator. You could take upfront cash, which is, in this case, I understand my real value. So I'm going to charge a lot of upfront cash because it's putting my trust on the line for somebody else. That's like, for example, if you had a guy and you had a girl cousin that you really wanted to protect, a girl cousin, and then you have this guy like, yo, man, can you introduce me to your cousin? and he just paid you $1,000, but he's a
Right.
terrible guy. Would you introduce that guy to your cousin for the money? Like, you're gonna ruin that trust you have with your baby cousin, the girl cousin. You wouldn't do that in real life. So like so my point is, there's 3 different approaches. You could take cash up front, which is again one and done. Whatever comes out of that, you keep it, whatever. Then you have another type of deal, which is cash up front and then back end. This is the ultimate spot you want to be in, to where they pay you like almost like an advance type of thing, but there's no recoupment. It's just an advance for your likeness and your time and your effort and the budget and all that. And then you get equity. So if anybody buys through your affiliate link,
Right.
you then get, now this is brand new information. You ready for this? Get excited, YouTube. That was so corny. Yeah, that was so cool. I don't know why I did that. I just was taken back to the 5th grade. So here's what the excitement is. I learned this recently. YouTube will now track, I forget the wordage, but basically they will track from the YouTube platform to wherever it goes. Like let's say it's Sweetwater, for example. They will have like an affiliate program that tracks from the source, and it keeps that tracking thing alive so that we don't need these complicated backend systems. Usually the issue is that a lot of these companies don't have a proper affiliate system.
Right. Right.
So I literally have to tell companies like what solution to have an affiliate program. That's like, I'm like, y'all should have this together already. So a lot of companies don't have that. So you can't even ask for backend because companies don't know how to implement the backend. So my point is, YouTube's going to introduce this thing where if you buy something, I think it's like Amazon stuff or something like this, through the YouTube thing, it actually credits your YouTube account and it doesn't get lost in the sauce. Like if you talk about a plugin, what was it? Infinite Toolroom, pardon me. Imagine you talk about it, but nobody clicks the link. They just Google it, Infinite Toolroom. They got a sale, but you never got credited.
Right.
That's the caveat right now with tracking is you probably created more sales than you're credited for.
And see, that's what I'm saying with the difference between affiliate links and getting paid up front. So I see like in the comments, again, this is no attack. Weaver's my dude. That's actually my guy, Weaver Beats. But he said, I review bad plugins because it tells people what's bad. You know, basically we should to help the producer community. But for me, I feel like finding another good plugin that would help more than, you know, doing the review on the bad plugin. So that's why I do it my way. I appreciate Weaver's content. I've been following him, dude, for the spicy content. I do. Weaver, I follow you for the spicy content. I need that in my life. But for me, that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not how I'm built right now. And so like it says here too, this is the caveat onto what I was going to say with what you were saying about with affiliate links, people don't always necessarily go to the links in your description.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
That's another reason why you should get paid, because with me, whenever I get paid for a review, I always put the disclaimer up on the front that it's paid promotion. I always get my money up front. So I'm not like, oh, I'll send you the review and then you pay me. No, you're going to pay me for my time. Whether you like my review or not, you're still going to pay me for my time, because I still spent my time and my effort messing with your plugin to figure it out, making a beat, making a video, editing a video, all the things we got to do for a video. So the bare minimum entry is you are going to pay me up front for the review. And, you know, typically, obviously, you want an affiliate link too, just like you're talking about for back-end stuff. But like for me, when I do that, if I ever take money for a review, I'm going to give the review that I'm going to give. I'm not here to dance around for the companies. Like if I give a good review on a bad plugin, then I'm going to lose subscribers, and the subscribers are more important than the review for your plugin. So at the end of the day, I get again that everybody's different. Everybody doesn't have the same moral compass, but I feel like you can't try to hold the same standards to. So like I said in that video, there's good cops, there's bad cops. There's good teachers, there's bad teachers. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to stop paying all cops because there's bad cops. You know, we're not going to stop paying all teachers because there's bad teachers. Think about the way life has been. You got magazines like Consumer Report. So how does Consumer Report operate? Basically, like if whatever company wanted to get a review from Consumer Reports, they would pay Consumer Reports and they would send them over the stuff. Consumer Reports would give them the honest to God review. You can see in Consumer Reports they've given good reviews, they've given bad reviews, but they're paid for each one of those reviews, and that's how they keep their company going. That's how they're able to pay their employees. They're paid for advertising. Like we get paid on YouTube, we get paid for advertising. And then if you get paid for a review, that's your other form of payment. And that's how a company like Consumer Reports would work, or any kind of company that's doing reviews, like it's a publication or anything like that. So I feel like when we get into these spaces like YouTube, the thing about YouTube is that YouTube is the wild, wild west. So it's like there ain't no regulations. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is a lot of people telling you what they think and how they feel without knowing how the rest of the companies in this world that operate similar, how they operate. So if you don't know how a business runs, it's not fair for you to talk about how people should be running their businesses, because this is how business works. Like this is how things work. When you work at a restaurant and you want to get somebody to review your restaurant, then you're going to pay them to come to your restaurant and give you a review, and you're going to probably feed them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in this world, money is always an exchange for an act, you know? So you, as the content creator, have to be stern in your ways and let these people know, I'm just going to give my opinion, man. I'm not here to give you my review to review over, because I'm not editing shit. Excuse my language. But dude, if I did a review for somebody and I sent it to them and they were like, we don't like this part, change it, I promise you the review that I made is the review that I'm about to post on my channel at the designated time that we said that review was supposed to be done. End of story. You know, I don't even, if y'all want to know the honest to God truth, I don't even send my reviews over to the companies to see. They get to see my reviews. Y'all get to see the reviews before they do, because y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all the subscribers following the news feed. So as soon as, I don't know. For me, it just blows my mind the way people think about this, because I guess how I think, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. It's just because of how I think. And I don't think like, how can I scam these people? I think, how can I help these people? You know?
That's how it should be. You like, that's what I love about your stance, is that that's how you're going to keep power, like keep your own agenda. You're not going to be slowly bought out by these companies and just lose interest in all this, is because, like you said, if you deal with I'm just talking to content creators.
Right.
If you deal with a company that says, oh, I need you to go back and edit out, a minute and whatever, because you did this, this, and this, or there was a blip, like just walk away. This is not worth the headache to be dealing with companies like that. Two is, if they're paying their social media manager more than they're paying you, then yeah, you got to get away fast, because they're paying these people who literally don't have our results, coming to us for our results, trying to tell us how to get our results. And that's hilarious to me. And then three is, I never got into the third type of deal. So I'll be quick. I won't go too deep with it. It's cash up front. It's one type of deal. The best deal for some people, because some of the tracking isn't even like, let's say it is tracked. Who says they're going to pay you?
Right.
You can make them $4,000. Who says they're going to pay you your cut? Like, who are you going to get? An accountant, a lawyer to go take for it? Like, it's cost too much to even go pursue it. So that's another thing. You have to trust the company. If you're ever going to do a back end thing, you got to trust that they've paid you in the past for your efforts. So I never fully push anything that I'm an affiliate for unless I've seen them pay me multiple times in the past, because I don't trust that they're going to pay me. So it's paid up front. Pay up front / and get paid on the back end, a percentage. And I will never take less than 70%. Why? Because I'm creating a literal sale for this company that didn't exist.
Right.
Especially if it's a digital product, people should be paying 100% commission. That's a new customer in your pipeline that you've never had before. There is, like, margins on digital is infinite. If you have a physical product, I can understand, like a Sweetwater, their margins are much lower. So they can't give away 30%, 50%.
I laugh because I had this company that I do reviews for and stuff, and they hit me up about, I'm not gonna put the company on blast, but they hit me up and they were like, we had to raise our price of plugins due to inflation. I was like, motherfucker, you got to be kidding me. That plugin is already fucking made. That plugin is already made. You don't have to do any more work. It ain't gonna cost you no gas to make another plugin. It ain't gonna cost you no chips, no electronics. It don't got to ship anywhere. It don't have to fly. And you got the audacity to raise prices on your already. It was already a pretty expensive plugin. It's kind of irritated me when they told me that, because they wanted me to be an affiliate, and I'm just like, I can't really push this. You're going to raise the price $20, and the plugin is already expensive. So it's like, that was a hard one for me. I didn't do any more content for them after that. But but
Mhm.
but that's another thing that you guys don't realize a lot of times is like I know I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't do. Like if you, I know Busy's email box is out of control because my email box be every day. I get companies want me to do reviews for them every single day. I get crypto companies. I get a bunch of different plugin companies. I get other hardware companies. I get artists. I get people. I get all these people wanting me to do reviews on plugins and drum kits and sample packs and just all this stuff. And so if you guys saw the amount of stuff that I turned down, you'd understand why I'm like I only do good reviews because I don't have to waste my time doing. And I'm not saying that anybody else is, so I don't. This is no shot at nobody else. I'm not pew pew, no shots. But I don't want to waste my energy on negative stuff. I'm trying to get into different lanes, like with gear reviews and all this other stuff. So I would rather focus on positives than the negatives, if that makes sense, you know?
No,
And
indeed. Yeah, I think this, the people who are aspiring content creators and trying to make a real living, like again, I told them the people who are getting the plaques and all this, they're coming to us for advice, like my creative agency that I run and started and have partners, Max Novak, Walter W. Brady, and my mentor, Chris Moye. They're coming to us for advice, like how to run these businesses online, because that's what creates like, I'll say a recession right now that we're in, a depression, whatever people want to call it. But that's what creates the stability through times like this is when you have a cash flow, when you have an audience that you're actually delivering consistent value upon, not just waiting on somebody to approve a payment or not. It's cash flow. And that's what we're showing these people how to do. And it took them a long time to realize it, but that's the value. So for example, like why would I charge $2,000 a video? Why do you think I would charge 2,000? Just from your perspective, what is your guess?
because you have your reputation is impeccable. You know what I'm saying? Like you know that okay, there's a lot. So like you've been doing this for 7 years, so you have a reputation. So you have an audience that these people don't have. You have a lot of trust built up behind you. You know, you have a lot of connections. So when you put out something, there's going to be a lot of eyes on something that people didn't see before. If you give something a glowing review, then that's going to make people realize, well, Busy don't do a lot of plugin reviews like this right now. So if he's spending his time to do this review, then that means it's important. Like for instance, when you went live talking about Rompler,
Mhm.
I immediately contacted. I didn't know it was Evan over at Studio Link though. You know, obviously I know Evan. Evan,
Okay.
that's my dude too. You know, but I didn't know that that's who made the plugin. So
Yeah.
I immediately got on the computer and I went to rompler.com and I sent an email. And before I can even send your contact, because you have to send your name, so you have to send your name and your email address. So I'm like something, my email. Before I could even type my message in, Evan's like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you, dude. I was going to hit you up." You know what I'm saying? But I knew the plugin has to be at least decent because you reviewed the plugin and you don't do that. The same with Lo-Fi Playtime. So Lo-Fi Playtime was a plugin that you did a review on last year by Yum Audio,
Mhm.
and I was like, let me check this out. Busy doing a review on it. Let me check it out. So then I watched your video and I was like, oh, this is fire. So I ended up contacting Yum Audio and seeing if they wanted to send over a copy so I can do a review on. That ended up being my favorite plugin that came out last year. Not because it was on your channel, but because of the type of music that I make. I was making a lot of lo-fi music last year and trap music. That shit works perfect. So to get to your point of would you charge $2,000, it's because there's a lot of things. You bring a lot of things to a table that a typical content creator can't bring to the table. Like you bring more than your next person can. And so that's part of why you can charge more is that you have a good reputation. You have 4,000 videos in your catalog to show that you're going to do your best job. You're going to bring your best foot forward. You have other resources that you can put into the video and put into getting people to see this product. You just bring a lot more value than your typical person does. And so that,
Okay.
the value that you bring makes you, you're able to charge a little more.
Thank you. I'll give all the lever points so that people who are in the chat and want to make that can improve on these skill sets or at least build these things for their business. I'll be short. I'm not going to go on like a whole essay. The first is distribution. If you want to have full control over your career, you got to have distribution, meaning you have to have people that you can communicate with without anything in between. I have hundreds of thousands of email contacts. That is the reason why these companies can pay me $2,000 and expect a return, because they know that it's more than the YouTube video. I'll post the YouTube video, but then I'll email my entire email list or a segment or a portion of my email list that will be interested in that product or that video. That amplifies sales when you have distribution, when I can pour 10,000 viewers on it if I felt like it. Okay, so that's the main power. That's the main lever, is distribution. Then you have, again, what you said, likeness in a short amount of ways, or goodwill.
Like,
some people
likeness,
call it
basically,
goodwill and likeness. Then you have the ability, you have the concept of like a falling domino. Like if Busy covers it, then everybody else trusts that it's safe to cover. I've done that with other companies. I won't name them, but behind the scenes, once I showed that it was safe to deal with this one plugin, or excuse me, this one company, then everybody else started doing stuff with that company. Again, I'm leaving them out for a specific strategic reason. Then you have the actual CPM. So again, my minimum value, I think if you look at it, is $4.50 per video. If you were to go through Google AdSense. So they're going, why would I can either make my own creative and then stuff it in front of his video for a chance to get his customer, or I could trust that he already understands his customer. So this is called curated traffic,
right?
Endorsed traffic. And this is what people don't understand, is that we're heated up. Like our audience loves the content. It's very focused. If I ran an ad campaign, I would have to talk to 100,000 people to find 1,000. But if you talk to you, for example, your channel, that's 13,000 people for the exact thing that they're looking for. They don't need to talk to 100,000 people. So it's actually a higher value. That's another element people forget. It's endorsed traffic. You can't buy endorsed traffic except through influencers or people who have an audience. And the other element is just that I have a syndicate. So I have a creative agency. So let's say Arteria came to us, or IK Multimedia, or Universal Audio, or Sweetwater, whoever. They want to run a campaign. I go, okay, I'm not only going to make the video, I'm going to get this creator, this creator, this creator. So our reach, instead of going, okay, Game has 800,000 viewers or watchers or whatever, subscribers, it's now a 10 million reach, a 1.5 million reach, because it's beyond me. So I'm syndicating. That's what people don't see behind the scenes, is what I do with my creative agency type stuff. So again, those are the levers I use to raise the value of the exact video, or run campaigns with companies. I don't just look at myself. I go, how can we get something in this campaign? I don't ask them. I tell them we're going to use something. I don't ask their permission for anything. If they say they want to promote, for example, Sweetwater is trying to promote like microphones and audio interfaces right now, and something else, something that produces, the Novation keyboard. So I was like, cool, I have a syndicate and we're going to get them in the right hands. If you want 1.5 million reach, cool. Something's going to be in the list, just because that's just, I trust you. It's going to be Larry O. It's going to be me. It's going to be produced by Jack. It's going to be, my best friend, Jacob, all these people to equal that 1.5. And then the campaign, because it's saturated all at one time, that's what convinces people that this product is actually worthy. And it's a solid company. Novation, they did the collaboration with Image Line to do the FL Studio
keys,
keyboard.
37 and 37. I need one of them.
Yeah. So it's my point is, you guys gotta understand it's like the five senses that we talked about. I realize we've been on for 2 hours. It's like the five senses that we talked. It's 5 p.m. right now. The five senses we talked about. You got to think about not just you as audio guys, like you make audio. How do you activate those other senses? Touch, smell, taste. What's the other one? Sight. How do we activate all these senses to increase our brand value? So I'll leave people off on that. I could go on for days and days and days. But yes, those are my thoughts.
All right, guys. Well, I guess since we are about at the 2 hour mark, I won't hold Busy all night. I know he's a busy man. So, you know what I'm saying? I want to say thank you again for hopping in with me. We had more topics to cover. Maybe that's for another day. We didn't even get to some of the stuff that I was talking about. We should talk about before.
Oh yeah, you want to do one hot take real quick?
Yeah,
forgot.
Let's do one hot take. This is something I think is very important too. So how do you deal with haters, basically?
Yeah. So for example, we were talking about Dame Taylor, for example. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. I get what he's trying to do, which is like the 6ix9ine approach, like just attack whoever's the biggest person, but it doesn't make sense.
So let me rewind this back. Let me rewind this back a little bit. So let me set this up a little bit better. Let me do a better job of introducing this. So
Oh, you go.
There is, producer. I have no beef with Dame either. Obviously, like I said, but I'm just talking about facts. So there's a producer who consistently makes content about Busy and just taking jabs and jabs and jabs and jabs. And then at one point, he challenged Busy to a beat battle. Busy accepted, and he didn't want to. He was like, "No, it wasn't an invitation," but literally he invited him to a beat battle, and then he's like, "No, it wasn't what it was called for." So, but there is a lot of people in this space who take shots at people like Busy, or like I see Simon Servita gets it a lot when people are like, "Oh, his beats are trash," or this and that. I'm like, fam, we got to be honest with ourselves at this point. You can't be calling these people frauds or saying their beats are trash when the beat is obviously not trash, you know? So how do you deal with the haters from a content perspective, how like now, in the past, and then from a perspective of like commenting on the videos and stuff like that? How do you handle haters?
Yeah, sure. Haters create two things. They not only convert the skeptics that we talked about earlier. Remember, there's 4 stages for anybody who skipped ahead. You have the spectator who doesn't know you from a hole in the wall.
Right.
You got this. They're curious, so they go, "Oh, I'm into. What is this curious thing? What is this? 7 tips to what? FL what?" And then they become skeptical. So haters' first utility is to convert skeptics over to the third stage, which is subscribers. So what Dame is helping me do is, like, just by bringing up my name, he's making people come to my page, even if their frame is hate. They look for any justification for that frame. So they go, okay, what's his content like? They open up the video. Oh, like, this is kind of dope. Like, I learned something. Then they click the second video. Like, wait, this is dope. Third video. Wow. And then boom, they become a subscriber because they're looking for a justification of the frame that they came in with. And that's how you convert. If you have it properly, if you have your objections answered and everything, that's how you convert, the skeptic over to the subscriber. Then the fourth level is the supporter. And the supporter takes the money out the pocket and then gives you the money to make the stuff to get more subscribers who become more supporters. It goes like that. Haters also have a utility of word of mouth. So one thing you can't buy with ads is people talking about you.
Right.
Like, think about it. I'm just saying, every hater that we have literally brings us up in conversations into universes where we don't exist. Think of, you know how Jesus had, what are they called? Disciples?
Mm-hmm.
Think of your haters as like evil disciples, but in a good way. Like, they're not evil. Like Judas, like, think about this. In order for people to get saved, Jesus had to die, right?
Right.
So wouldn't Judas be a good person because he like led Jesus to get murdered or whatever it was? Like, how is he not important to the story? He was his biggest hater. He got betrayed, but it had to happen for people to get saved. Does that make sense? Like, there's a story in the book of Job. It talks about how the devil literally goes into heaven and talks to God in this story. And it goes, "Hey, God, I've noticed this guy on earth out of all the millions of galaxies that you have, this small guy, his name is Job. And I want to see if he actually loves you." And in the story, God's like, "You know what? Go ahead." And he gives permission to the devil to test Job. And Job gets leprosy, which is like cancer of the time. He loses his farm. His wife dies. All his kids die. It's like a fire or something like this. And Job's still like, "Even though I'm suffering on this last bit of hay, I still love you, Lord." and then after that point, the Lord's like, "Wow, Job is really solid. Like, he's loyal. He's down for this. I'm going to reward him and restore everything as if nothing happened." He got a new farm, a new wife, new kids, new car. And the point of that story is evil has a purpose. Hate has a purpose, and it's to polarize. And when you polarize, you magnetize. You can't have desire if there's no distance. Desire is what brings two polar opposites together. And sometimes you have to repel people to motivate them or push them more towards something because they don't have the pull. There's two forces. There's pulling and then there's pushing. Most of everybody in the chat, we've had a bad breakup. Life got to us and we were mad about something. And that was a motivator. And we started doing all these actions. Like you said, what did you say? Money leads to actions.
Yeah.
You know, emotion leads to actions too. And so we're mad about something. We're doing all this. And then we're like the Curtis King thing. I think he said he did the YouTube like spree because of Nipsey Hussle had passed away, got murdered. So he was angry about it. So he made a bunch of content. Now, when he got over that anger, what happened? Like, the motivation was gone. because nothing was pulling. I'm not saying him, I'm just using him as an example. But if something's not pulling you in, meaning you're inspired by that thing, you have to be pushed by something. So people aren't, if they don't know about BusyWorks Beats, know about FL Studio, know about all those terms we talked about, they can't be pulled or desire something that they don't even know about. They're not aware of it. So a hater pushes people who aren't aware in towards the thing that they make the other person become aware of. So haters literally have a utility of magnetizing something. Think of it like electricity. I mean, we get nuclear power from separating atoms, don't we? So it's the same exact thing. You need the devil to have God. You need God to have the devil. It's up. Was yin yang?
Right.
Yin and yang, whatever like that.
I always say that too. You gotta have. I mean, with everything, you gotta feel anger to be happy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You gotta feel sadness to feel joy. But without the yin or the yang, there is no happy. Because if you're always happy, then that's normal. You know what I'm saying? That's a normal mood. So you always need that opposite to balance out the other side. So sorry, go ahead.
Big fact. Oh no, I wasn't saying anything. That's basically how I perceive the main thing that I'm trying to tell everybody in the chat is once you give haters a utility, like, oh, they're my workers, they're my best salesmen. Like, I need more. I need to grow this company. I need to get people agitated so that they can motivate people to do stuff that aren't inspired already because they don't know to be inspired or desire something. So that's really what it comes down to. Like, for example, here's my last point. You ever go to Instagram and you see like a random ad about like Pokemon socks?
Yeah. Just random ads. Yeah, I got you.
You're like, I never knew I needed some Pokemon socks. This is the perfect time of year to invest in some Pikachu sock. So you weren't looking for that. It was pushed into your direction, into your awareness. That's what haters do is they interrupt people's patterns. That's what they do.
So what would you recommend then for somebody who maybe gets in their feelings about haters? How should they react to these haters?
Yeah, some haters, there's some times where people want to react and get physical or pull up on people. I don't know when I'm going to go public with this story one time, but I'll be vague about it. But behind the scenes, like, people think the internet is just the internet. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I had to stop something from happening. Let's just say that. I'll just leave it at that. But people don't understand that. So I'm trying to be vague here. What can they do if they react? So the one thing you have to go through is, like, girls, for example, dating. If a guy never got used to like a girl's mood changing or being rejected, you're not going to have the thick skin, it's called, to even have the confidence to go up to the girl you actually need and want. So in life, you just have to, it's just like going to the gym. I can't go to the gym without ever lifting in my life and then bench press 200 pounds. Impossible. Now, what is the gym when I'm benching? It's stress. I'm ripping apart my muscles so that I can use the proteins to rebuild it. Protein is like the lesson that we learn. It builds us up. What's the lesson? The pain is ripping the muscle. The lesson is the protein that goes in and builds up the gap between the muscle so that next time when we go to the gym, we could do the higher weight. So if we start at 20, rip the muscle, rebuild. Now we can do 40, rip the muscle, rebuild. Now we can do 80, on and on and on until then we hit 200. But if we go to the gym, never lifting ever before, and then try to bench 200, we will destroy ourselves.
Right.
And that's what happens with people in hate and resistance and pressure. I'm trying to think of an example. Have you ever been like in a really hot place?
I live in Atlanta.
That's hilarious. Okay, you live in Atlanta. That's even doper because that's interesting. That was a funny response, but that's an interesting answer too. Is now when you go from Atlanta, put it this way, I'll be short about it. But basically, when you put a frog in water and it goes from cold water to immediately boiling water, it jumps out of that pot. If you put a frog in water and you slowly heat it, because they're cold-blooded, so if you slowly heat it, it just goes into homeostasis with whatever the temperature is. So it slowly rises, and you slowly rise the heat so that they don't even notice a difference.
Fam, you can't be using homeostasis on my channel. We don't be using school words over here. No, I'm just playing.
I thought you said homeostasis.
No, go ahead.
A second ago. And so they don't jump out of that pot. So my point is, in life, when you go through more and more and more of this resistance and pain, you slowly get used to it until you become resistant to it. Same way diabetes happens. If you eat too much sugar, your cells become resistant to it, and then your cells don't absorb the sugar. So everything has a resistance. It's like getting calluses when you bend. Like I have a kind of a callus right there. You can't really see it. But because I'm gripping on that metal so much, my body has to adapt to build a defense mechanism called a callus. So now when I lift, I'm not shredding my skin. I have a buffer. And that's what people don't build up. They just don't go through the iterations. It took 4,000 videos to be able to talk comfortably with people who own billion-dollar corporations, like as if they're just, me and you talking. So how do they react? You just got to go through it. That's like saying, how do I deal with my girl's nonsense? You got to just deal with a bunch of nonsense until you just, here's what it is. And I'm sorry, I'm so long about it, but once you understand that everything will be okay, I think most people, when they approach stuff, they think there's going to be some dramatic, chaotic event afterwards. Like, it's okay if you take your girl to the wrong restaurant one night. Don't trip. Like, you can fix it the next time, as long as you adapt and adjust for the next time. So I think that's what they create these stories as if they're going to be exiled from society if they make one bad review video, or if they get, do one bad thing, they think they're going to be like not accepted or not make money. So it all comes down to the story they tell about survival is the end point. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but that's how they react. Is you have to get through the reactions so that you learn to respond, which is a militant type of angle to it. So, for example, let's just use Dame Taylor, for example. Let's say he's like saying all these videos, called me out or whatever. Okay, I'm going to respond now. I wasn't even worried about his business model, which is just act like people are going to get placements. And I'm not going to even hate on it. But the point is, his model is promise people this. He has some secret about the music industry and placements, and then use that as bait to get people to pay him to listen to the music or come to his camps or whatever it is. So if I was being petty, I would respond militantly in business. So if he could talk all the crap he wants online, cool. I'm going to start a new business called a songwriting camp, and I'm going to show up in LA and have songwriting camps that are going to compete to attract the attention of his customers. So now the customers have to decide, do they want to spend money with Dame? Do they want to spend money with BusyWorks Beats? Who can undercut him? I'm just saying things that people could do. Undercut him, bring in better celebrity, actually have placements, actually, give the tips and different things, add more value. What's the competitive advantage is my point. If people don't have a moat around them, they're not untouchable. So that's what I would say is, when you get to higher and higher levels, you go, I'm not worried about that small little pinch on my arm, because the napalm is about to blow on your digital business right now. We're about to run ads and shut your traffic down and outrank you. So it's a different thing. It's a different thing. So, yeah. So you will see songwriting camps in LA soon.
For real?
Yeah, I actually have a partner, Derico from Priority Beats. He's running a songwriting camp right now. He's actually writing for Queen's Men, or All the Queen's Men.
That's dope.
Is that a show? I say, cool, let's partner.
Right. That's dope, bro.
So that's the difference between reacting and responding, for those who want to know.
All right, brother.
There it is.
I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna go ahead and in the live. If you want to stay in here for just 1 minute afterwards, I'd appreciate that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. Because if you want to say peace out to the people, thanks again for rocking with me on this live stream, man. Much appreciated.
I'll even type it in the chat. Peace out, chat. Shout out to Rob Snow hanging in there all the way to the end. I appreciate you. 2 hours in, 2.5 hours.
Right. We did it big today. Do it big. What is that? What Gramps used to say on the Boondocks? Do it big.
Hilarious. I didn't see that show, but that sounds funny.
You never seen the Boondocks?
Was it Ruckus? Uncle Ruckus?
Yeah, Uncle Ruckus was the racist.
The super racist.
Yeah. But the grandpa was John Witherspoon. And there was an episode where he was dating some 20-something-year-old chick. And the whole episode, he's like, do it big. So, yeah.
Because that reminds me of Boomerang.
Yeah.
He said, you got to coordinate, or whatever he said.
You got to whoop that pussy. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
Okay, so he said it in that voice that makes it even funnier.
Yeah. He definitely said it in that voice.
But how did you feel? How was the run? Oh, we're still on. Or well, how you feel right now? You said you wanted to mention a word after. Is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
super private?
Yeah. So I guess we're out of here.